We're going to talk about that a lot. 36 to 39 laps. Now, here are the keys I'm talking about. No self-inflicted mechanical failures. Brake, transmission, over-revving engines, or missing a shift. Also, stay on the track. Just stay on the asphalt. Don't spin out. Stay out of the dirt, and you'll be just fine today. And run your own race. Run your own strategy. And with that, I'm going to bring in my crew chief partner, Jeff Hammond, talking about running your own race. And Jeff, it's a 110-lap race, and we run the race backwards. In other words, we're looking at our pit window backwards from 110 laps.
Yeah, you are, Larry, and a lot of guys I talked to today, the one little thing that kind of got messed up was in the driver's meeting today, they're running 3 pace laps. All the guys had figured out if you could go 37 laps and make a pit stop, you could run this race on 2 stops. And right now, my friend, those 3 laps going around here, even though it's slow, is burning that much needed fuel that could kind of mess up a lot of these guys' strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it's 110 laps. They were telling me they could run close to 40 laps. So what you do, you go backwards. You know, if you can get to pit road by lap 70, you can make it to the end. If you can get to pit road by lap 30, you can make it on 1 stop. And you almost want to make a pit stop here under green because you can do it without losing a lap.
Yeah, so much of that, Larry, again, when we talk to the guys down in the garage area, everybody's kind of like on their own agenda. They'd like to see this happen. If you're starting up toward the front, well, this is the best case scenario. If you're starting toward the back, you'd like to see an early caution early on so you could duck down on pit road and kind of get off sequence with everybody. But, Mike, the key thing here today is do not lose your composure. Remember where you are and try to pace yourself early on.
No, you're right, Jeff. The asphalt is your friend here. There's plenty of runoff room if you need it. You're okay to get 2 wheels off, but you don't want to get 4 off here. It can be a long and dusty ride. 1 lap to go, and we'll be racing at Infineon Raceway, built upon Sears Point in Sonoma, California. We talked to a number of the top drivers about the uniqueness of this race and what they'll be concentrating on beginning in just 1 lap.
It's definitely a real challenge for the drivers to go from oval tracks and being in these big, fast corners to driving in a corner, hard braking, downshifting, and then shooting back out of the corner.
And aerodynamics is not the least bit important at Sonoma, which is great.
It's difficult to do. It's braking, it's left turns, it's right turns, it's downshifting, it's upshifting.
No mistakes, stay on the road. And it sounds basic, but it is probably one of the hardest things to do, staying on the road on a road course. A lot of guys beating and banging on each other. I mean,
Number 4 across the short, level surface to turn 7. And then they'll wind their way down through the S's to the difficult turn number 10, the hairpin shaped turn 11, and back to 12 and the start-finish line. One of the great features of this weekend is the Grand Marshal's Dinner. Steve Page with the Raceway and Klein Sellers always put on a first-class event with a lot of surprises. We had a driver panel. Pole sitter Kurt Busch, 4th place starter Ryan Newman, and 6th place starter Casey Kane were on the panel. And when we began talking about what to expect at the start of the race, will you decide if these fellas are entertaining the crowd or if this is a serious discussion about what to expect when we go green?
I still haven't figured this out. You start on the inside or the outside, or the inside or the outside? Which one is it?
I'm going to go on the inside and put the other guy in the weeds.
Which one's the inside, though?
The inside's left.
But it's a right-handed corner.
But if I get on the gas first, I think I'll beat him.
Okay. I'm starting 4th, so I got to know.
Okay.
Remember,
so
I'm going to be
me
behind the car that's going to be getting the weeds.
In the weeds, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be on the wrong side.
That's why I'm trying to figure this out.
All right. I might change my mind now.
We need to
I
talk
help
a little
my
bit.
teammate out.
We need to talk a little bit more before Sunday.
All right.
Well, I hope they've talked because we're about to go.
Well, and that's the other thing. See, you don't even know which side the pole guy starts on here. It's so different.
He has his choice.
He does have that option.
Turn 11. Good passing zone entering turn 11. It's the slowest corner on the course. You get down to 35 miles an hour in the middle of that corner.
The best place to make a clean pass.
Yeah, DW, best I can tell, I don't know what to tell you to expect here on lap 1, so you better reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go road racing today, boys. Got a drag race at the top of the hill. Whoa, man, McMurray's in trouble. Seen that happen so many times.
The blue flag waving means there is a car off course. Now there are 2. Bobby Labonte is around.
Happens almost every time we come here, that little chain reaction back through the field.
The blue flag is a local issue. Be careful. It does not mean we're under caution. The yellow flag is only used for a full course caution. Whoa, Robbie Gordon, right out there against the barrier.
Racetrack.
How many drivers were in on that little deal you did the other night that they all got the message, I assume?
Yes, and the fella who Kurt said might end up in the weeds got out there in the dirt. Jamie McMurray in the car that Kurt drove here last year.
I think he's going to get back. Kurt Busch, uh-oh, got another car around over here coming through turn 8. Oh, no!
Hard lick.
Kenny
Man,
Schrader got
Sterling Marlin in the 14 car, and they're still stacking up. Casey Mears.
one car, T-bone Schrader extremely hard.
Oh, it was an incredible lick.
That's Tom Hubert in the 27 car.
Tom Hubert nailed Kenny Schrader.
We are under a full course caution now here coming to lap 1.
So we fail to complete a lap under green.
Racetrack is so narrow there through the S.
And Larry, these tires that they're running here this year do not hook up very well for a couple of laps. It's a little harder rear tire, and the tires just don't hook up like they have here in the past.
Schrader's okay. Casey Mears will pilot his car back to the garage. Sterling Marlin is okay. Now,
You're
this is at turn 9.
Yeah, the 21 car gets sideways. I don't know if he got help or not. We'll see here momentarily. I don't think he did. Carl Edwards didn't touch him. Kenny just spun the car, got up on the curb. But, man, when he comes back out in the racetrack, the melee breaks loose.
And you can see Dave Blaney getting in the back. And look at Jamie McMurray, the guy that sat on the outside pole because of what happened up there in turn 2. He was almost involved in it.
Scott Pruitt shoots through. You won't believe how Clint Boyer got right through the middle of this storm.
Yeah,
here's
he just
Kyle
about
Petty.
got into Kenny's car. See Kenny go around in the 21 car. Now here's where it gets ugly. He backs right out in front of
Nowhere
Sterling
for
Marlin.
Sterling to go, nowhere for Hubert to go.
Look at Boyer, sneaks right through there.
The 42 car got him in the rear just ever so slightly. Did not hurt the 07 Jack Daniels car. Everybody's other car.
I do think Jamie McMurray got a little bit of damage to the front of his car, the 26.
Caution is out early in Sonoma.
Water temp's about 240, so shut the thing off. 10-4, you can shut it off. It won't hurt a thing.
Napa, get the good stuff. Remember, Nationwide Insurance is...
Did you hear what I said about checking the scoring loop?
I had to switch to the NASCAR official. He's going to let me know in a second.
Nothing but static. Nothing but static. Paul's checking it now.
Or go to AOL.com/highspeed. Want a better high-speed internet? You belong at AOL.
Pace truck at turn 7 while cleanup finishes at the exit of turn number 8. 3 of those 4 cars are likely done for the day. Marlin, Schrader, and Hubert. There is Sterling Marlin's car, and there is Tom Hubert's. Kirk Shelmerdine Ford being pulled back to the garage. Time for our singular virtual crew chief question. First one of the day. Let's look at Jeff Burton waiting to go again here. In the 10-race chase for the championship, should a road course race be included? Yes or no? Text the word crew to 191 on your Singular wireless phone or log on to foxsports.com/singular and vote. Two big incidents on the first lap. Jamie McMurray, the outside pole sitter, getting onto the curbing at turn number 2 and spinning. And then Kenny Schrader getting loose through 8, which is toward the end of the S's, and piling things up, putting us under the red flag. Let's deal with that one first. Watch the 21 of Schrader.
Gets up on the curb, but the 99's right behind him, but he doesn't make any contact. Kenny just got loose after jumping off the curb. And right here, gosh, that is a lick.
And then Tom Hubert, the 27, stuck behind Sterling Marlin, just nowhere for him to go.
A bunch of guys are really fortunate to squeeze through there and not get any damage.
That pretty much told the tale that Carl Edwards did not get in the back of Schrader, that shot right there. Dale Earnhardt Jr. just getting by.
Bunch of guys right here, the 42, the 07, they just squeeze through.
Now let's go back. Watch the second place car, McMurray, get 2 off on the sand and slide right across track.
Yeah, he just got dirt on his tires when he got up top of the hill there. He didn't have any grip. Thing just slid off the racetrack. See all these other cats kind of bottling up there as well.
Great aerial coverage.
My favorite shot, man.
Our Vegas.com Cessna Skymaster giving you these views. Steve Burns.
Mike, I've been listening to Jamie McMurray and Bob Osborne as crew chief talk about what to do. What the concern right now is not the first incident where Jamie ran off the track, but the second he ran off the track again when Kenny Schrader got drilled. And they're concerned about damage to the front valence of that race car, but it seems like the latest thing they've decided is to go ahead and pit, put tires on it. Bob Osborne is concerned about the tires, and he also told his crew to look at the front nose, but be careful of the ductwork if we have to hammer anything out.
Well, Steve, there's nothing to lose here because he's basically at the back of the field. It takes a long time to get around here under caution, so they can look at that nose closely, go ahead and change tires, and oh yes, Jeff Hammond and I mentioned, fill it up with fuel too while you're there.
Kenny Schrader's Little Debbie's car being hauled off as Sterling Marlin's. Looks like Casey Mears will continue.
Seems somebody turned him. What did it feel like?
Either I was facing the wrong direction. I'm plenty capable enough of doing it by myself. Maybe it did, I don't know. But I was facing the wrong direction, came across track and got hit.
You're okay though.
Yeah.
Huge hit. Sterling, what was your view of it?
Just typical road course stuff. I mean, I don't know somebody turn Kenny. Well, we'd passed 3 or 4 cars time I got there, and I seen Kenny spinning. I thought he was going to the right, and all the dust and smoke, and he comes back across the track, and I'm right on, I guess, Elliott Sadler, and he whips to the left, and there Kenny was coming back across the track.
There's your replay right there watching, Sterling.
So wasn't nowhere to go. Just hate it for everybody.
Well, did you get turned or not?
I don't think Carl hit us. What?
You say you did.
No, I didn't. If you screwed up, you screwed up.
Well, there it is, folks. You can go ahead and figure out at home who turned who or just what happened there. The two main combatants aren't sure themselves, but that was a huge hit. Good thing Kenny Schrader's okay.
Thanks, Dick. A third angle replay showed there was no contact between Edwards and Kenny Schrader. But got that initiated and put us under the red flag with Schrader, Marlin, and Tom Hubert in the garage.
Like a road racing demon got him.
From Sonoma, time for a Visa race break on the first lap. The caution flag out, not a red flag, but we're getting ready to go green. Jamie McMurray, who started on the front row alongside pole sitter Kurt Busch with Bobby Labonte. Not used to those left and right turns and going off course just a little bit. And then later on the first lap, Ken Schrader in the 21 car. He wasn't sure what happened, but watch Sterling Marlin just can't get out of his way. 5 cars involved. Casey Mears, Tom Hubert, even rookie Clint Boyer in the 07 car. All the drivers okay, but the track was blocked, bringing out the red flag. Right now, 3 Dodges, Busch, Kane, and Newman lead the way as we get ready to go green. And this has been a Visa race break. No matter what it takes, life takes Visa.
Field under the 1 to go signal. They get that up at turn 7. The lights go off on the pace truck. We get ready to race. Casey Mears' car is still under repair. And Bobby Labonte checked up for Kyle Busch and got an assist perhaps from Dale Jarrett is what put him around at turn number 2.
Yeah, and Boyer's car actually has quite a bit more damage on the back of it than I thought originally, Mike. The rear blade on the right side is all bent down, so they've still got a little work to do there on that car. See over on the right side there. The car took a pretty good lick, actually.
It did. It looks like they may have that spoiler up every day. As you said, it wouldn't hurt to get it back in here under the next caution.
Got to
Work
get
on it a little more.
Got to get a bigger hammer, Larry. They didn't have a big enough hammer right there.
We had about 6 cars that made pit stops. Most of them were cars that were involved in a wreck.
Tom McMurtry flying our Cessna Skymaster and our Vegas.com Skycam. He's flown everything from the spy plane Blackbird to the Boeing 747 that piggybacked the space shuttle. And today, he's giving you these beautiful views. Best way to see Infineon Raceway is from the air. As we get ready to race and resume. Green flag for Kurt Busch to start lap 4.
Not too bad to have the DLP cable cam working too. So we got them covered. We got them down on the ground, got them up in the air.
All restarts here are single file.
Boy, Robbie Gordon made a nice move on Mark Martin right there in that 7 car to get pick up a position.
He won the drag race up the hill to turn 2 and was able to take the position. Robbie awfully good in both those practice sessions yesterday.
Yes, he was. He was quick, Larry, and you see cars back there kicking up dust, and that causes you so much trouble because when you come over the top of turn 3 up there, you are blind. You see nothing.
You're looking at the sky.
That's it. You see that sky cam.
Greg Biffle throwing a smoke screen as he got up and across the alligator teeth there into the dirt just a bit.
You know, I know qualifying is important everywhere we go, but if there's a place that's so important, it's here at Infineon. You look up there and you see Kurt Busch in that 2 car just leading. He can kind of run his own pace. He don't have to pressure anything or anybody, as we see a move here by P.J. Jones in that 4 to the inside of Matt Kenseth in the 17.
Jones is one of our road runners. And up front, a battle for second. Ryan Newman dips to the inside on Casey Kane. He's going to take Harvick with him at turn 11.
Larry, you're right about that, because all 17 of these races have been won from a top 15 starting position.
It just makes it easy on everything and everybody.
Our DLP cable cam floating high above pit road and the front stretch here.
There you see Tony Stewart, the 20 car right now in the 9th position, going for 4 consecutive road course wins, including here and Watkins Glen, the other road course these cars go to.
They've had such an awesome road race car, but here this weekend we've got a little different tire combination than we had in the past. Sometimes, man, that can just make a race car miserable to drive. You can't get it set up like you were accustomed to.
Mark Martin dives inside. Stewart has a look. Now Biffle goes after Casey Kane.
Tight right there, not a lot of room. Got to give and take. This is pretty much follow leader down through these S's till you get down here at the end to the old wicked turn 10. You want to be right on the guy's bumper when you go down. Here we come. Now you're going to hit 3rd gear right here. Tough corner, turn 10. Now if you get a good run here, like look like Tony may have a run on Biffle, duck to the inside. Outbreak him getting down into turn 11. Good passing zone.
And Jeff Gordon in the 24, he's going to try to take advantage of it as well. Right now they've got Biffle hooked on the outside, but Biffle got a pretty good bite off turn 11. I was talking to P.J. Jones yesterday, who's running awfully good here in the Morgan 4 car. He said, Darrell, there's such a fine line. It's like walking on a razor blade between overdriving and underdriving your race car here.
And that's where the road racing guys have they got a little bit of an advantage. When they do that heel and toe thing that we talk about, they can drive in a little bit deeper and finesse the gears and the brakes a little bit better than an oval driver can. We're a little bit more wanting to stop the car with the gearbox all the time. Road racers try to stop the car with the brakes. Stop in a straight line, get off the brakes.
And here's one of the best at it. Boris said, driving for a car that he co-owns with the No Fear folks and Frank Stoddard involved. Here's a 3-way view of what Boris is up to.
Notice how quick that shifter moved. I mean, he doesn't have to, there's very little throw in the shifter. Real quick little shifts.
Drives the car as much with his feet as he does the hands, and Darrell, notice right there, he upshifts without the clutch, but he uses the clutch to downshift.
And all the way to first gear here, all the way in first gear off of turn 2, or turn 11. And look how quickly that thing shifts, just little flips.
I like the way he backhands the shift knob to grab 4th gear so he doesn't risk pulling it into 2nd by mistake.
And notice the shifting knob. A lot of guys have real customized shifting knobs that they like to use. But the big thing is it's got to be smooth. All those shifts, if you have anything on that shifting knob like the old shift patterns, it'll tear your hands up.
Yeah, Mike, you mentioned going from 3rd to 2nd. That actually happened to Martin Truex Jr. in qualifying on Friday over the engine. He had to go to the rear of the field for this race because he had to change the engine.
Whoa, I heard a little something there that made me uncomfortable. Little wheel hop. Get down at the bottom of turn 4 there. It's hard on drivetrain.
Jeff Gordon battling, or actually he's gotten past Casey Kane, and that'll move him up into 8th place.
You know, Jeff's won a lot of races here, as we have said, but I don't know that I ever saw him. I don't remember him starting that far back. And that makes it even more different. That makes it difficult.
But there's certainly a reason he started that far back. He was off the racetrack almost all the way from turn 8 to turn 10 in qualifying.
He draws a bead on Mark Martin. Now they're about 7 seconds behind the leader.
Casey Kane in the 9 car. Now he started up in the 6th position. Remember, he came in here 3rd in the points, and I know this was one of the races that was really on their radar. Ray put a full court press on Casey's efforts here. We talked to Boris said in the pre-race, that was his teacher, Matt Yoakum, to try to come out here and have a good solid finish here at Infineon.
Larry Mack, the biggest lesson that Casey has learned from Boris. Boris said, Casey, you're actually being too smooth, too conservative. Be more aggressive. Get after it. Jump back in the throttle a little faster, a little harder, and throw the car around a little more. That's what he's going to try to do during the race today.
And Matt, that takes confidence. And if you're a little bit timid on the road course, that's the way you would approach it, very conservatively. Now, that was a great passing zone that we just come to there. Turn 7. There's only 2 good places. Turn 7, turn 11. If you want to pass somebody, those are the 2 places you got to set them up to get it done.
Boy, I like the job that P.J. Jones is doing with that Morgan McClure 4. He qualified, what, 15th? And that's by far the best that car's qualified for a race this year. It's a one-off drive for P.J., who would love to be on this circuit full-time, but he's making the most of it.
Riding with Jeff Burton here in the 31 car right now. He's in the 16th position. There you see P.J. Jones in the 4 car trying to take the position away from Joe Nemechek in the Army car. Little close quarters there off turn 11.
You said it right, Larry. He's taking it away.
Whoa, Kyle Busch to 5. Gets into the wall coming off the last corner there before the start-finish line. Hard lick, really.
Track's real slick.
Scott Pruitt grabs a gear as Busch slides in front of him.
Track's real slick, car's real loose. So he looked like he may have had to take a little evasive action. That is a hard lick.
On front and rear.
Yeah, you see he got into the back of the 32 car there of Ron Fellows. He's trying to make a pass on Ron.
Car pretty loose,
yeah.
Real loose. That's a fast corner right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you grab high gear as you come up through there.
Burton and now Fellows, who's in the 32 this week, trying to get past Joe Nemechek. Bit of tire rub for Kyle Busch. And with that damage on Fellows' car must have happened earlier. Here's our road runners. Morris said in 6th, PJ 13th, and you're riding with Scott Pruitt, 2 spots behind the Canadian Ron Fellows.
Pretty impressed with Scott Pruitt's run. He started back in the 27th position. He's all the way up to 18th. No practice for him yesterday. He went to Mid-Ohio to run his Daytona prototype in the Rolex 24-hour type series. So no practice yesterday, Dick Bergman.
But it's just radioed his crew and told them that the car is pushing very badly right now, Larry Mack.
Well, they changed setups from qualifying. Scott told me this morning they made a big change in the setup. Wasn't at all like what they qualified, but he thought it would be what the car needed and that it would come in the race today.
Yeah, they really went back to a setup that he had run here before.
Exactly.
Oh, by the way, this cat right here, he just continues to pull away. 2.25 seconds ahead of second place.
Kurt Busch has the fastest lap of the race ahead of his Penske's teammate, Ryan Newman, and Kevin Harvick, who had a late night last night in Milwaukee. Running a solid third. Robbie Gordon, there's Robbie. He is in fourth. 4.5 seconds back ahead of Tony Stewart, Morris Said, Jeff Gordon, and Mark Martin.
Import.
Inside. Clear. Line off the corner. One backboard. One, that's as good as the leader. Here. Work for us. 10 laps are complete. 100 to go. Bud, you're looking good here. 15, you're the quickest car on the track right there. Good lap, man. Just be smooth. You're the same as the leader.
UPS. 12 laps complete. Kurt Busch has led them all. The last road course win in NASCAR Senior Circuit by a Dodge, 1977. Richard Petty behind the wheel. Here's where our Dodge Chargers are currently running, with Busch and Newman teammates leading, and Casey Kane right now in 14.
Yeah, no Dodge wins at Sonoma or Watkins Glen.
That was at Riverside, California, where Richard won, and talked to the King this morning. A lot of people are walking by going, "Hey, King, I love your movie." He says, "I'm only in it just a little bit."
Yeah.
I think Richard is more excited about his wife, Linda Petty, being in the movie. Linda has a great role as a Petty Blue station wagon.
And that was the station wagon because that's the car they went to all the races in and hauled the kids to the track.
And Richard plays, of course, the King, a winged Plymouth Superbird. And if you haven't seen Cars, well, you just need to go soon.
You know, talking about these Penske teammates, Ryan Newman in the 12th, he's actually starting to reel in his teammate just a little bit, Kurt Busch. But the biggest thing I think about when I look at the Penske package here running 1-2 is the fact that where these guys are in the points right now. And I think they've got a full court press trying to get in that top 10 over these next 11 races, because Kurt Busch comes in here 16th, 187 points back. Ryan Newman is 17th, 252. That's in back of 10th. These guys, they've got to do what they're doing here. They've got the lead laps, and they're going to have top 5 finishes if they want to make the chase for the next Nextel Cup.
You see the front four have tightened up. The Energizer Bunny, Robbie Gordon, is right there with him. Gordon would be a road course ringer were he not a full-time Nextel Cup driver as well. And Matt, he is closing on the leaders.
Concern during final practice, Mike, was the transmission issues in the 3rd to 2nd area. Now, Robbie said the car feels fine, just a little bit tight, sliding the nose, but he came on the radio back on lap 5 and said, guys, this is our race to lose. He is slowly reeling in the 29 of Harvick, setting his sights on the leader, Busch.
I cringe a little bit when I hear about that transmission deal, because 1 year ago, along with Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, Robbie Gordon was one of the cars that had some transmission failure a year ago, had a car to win the race then. But you know when you come to a road course, you're going to have to contend with that 7 car if he does not have any issues.
There's the front four. Stewart in 5th. You see Boris Said coming up the hill 6th. Jeff Gordon in 7th. Mark Martin in 8th. Greg Biffle in 9th. And Jimmy Johnson, the Nextel Cup point leader, a workmanlike 10th. Steve?
Well, Mike, the good news for Jimmy Johnson is he's up to 10th from 16th in 4 starts here. Just 1 top 5 finish for Jimmy Johnson. He says he is a work in progress when it comes to road course racing. His report on his race car is just a little bit loose coming off the corners, Dick Berggren.
I've been listening to a lot of driver crew chief conversations on the radio, Steve, and what I am hearing the crew chiefs tell the drivers, be smooth, be patient, stay on the course. Perhaps all these guys ought to have a little sign of the dashboard, the sign that Jim Inglebright had yesterday in the AutoZone Grand National race. Caution, tire barriers are closer than they may appear.
There was a song back in the 60s, wasn't there? Easier said than done.
And they'll do a good job of it right now. As I mentioned at the top of the show, it'll be those 10 or 15 laps to go in this thing when the philosophy somewhat changes.
Once you get strung out like we are now, you literally start to race the racetrack itself. You don't want to make any mistakes. You don't want to tear anything up. So that's what you're doing right now.
Here's 3 good ones. 2 road runners and Jeff Burton, one of NASCAR's accomplished road racers, in the middle. Ahead of him is P.J. Jones. Behind him is Ron Fellows in the Tide car. So let's answer our singular virtual crew chief question. Should there be a race in the chase on a road race course? You said, sure, why not?
Obviously, he didn't ask the drivers. That was the fans.
It probably depends on which driver you ask.
Yeah, there might be a couple that would agree with that, but not 70%.
I think it'd be a great idea.
You know, we always talk about agendas that race teams are going through right now, and right behind Jeff Burton is Ron Fellows in that 32 car. And they are big picture racing right now. And what I mean by that, yeah, they're here to try to win a race, and you know you can with Ron Fellows, but this is the team that came in here 112 points behind the top 35 in owner points, which means they're not locked in. They have to qualify each week. That's one of the reasons they brought Ron Fellows. And you know the guy that came in here in 35th? Right now, he's going to be credited for 42nd, Sterling Marlin in the 14 car. If they can have a top 10 or 12 run with this 32 car, they could go to Daytona in the top 35 in owner points.
And Larry, it's a $250,000 gamble by the owner of this team, Cal Wells. That's what it costs to build this special road race car with Fellows input. Dick Berggren?
It's a very unique race car, Mike. Very stiff, much stiffer than any of the other cars on the speedway right now. And they were working yesterday on forward bite, trying to improve the forward bite on this car. Fellows' principal problem right now, he hasn't got enough forward bite.
And that makes all the sense in the world. A stiff race car is going to stick the front tires because the front tires are going to, the chassis is not going to flex. And it's stiff in the rear, it's going to want to spin the rear tires.
And there's their driver, Travis Quapple. Travis will be back in the car at Daytona now. They did bring another car out here, the 78 car, to try to qualify with Travis. Travis missed the show just a little bit, but right now this 32 car, their mission almost accomplished if they keep going like they're going today.
Travis spent all yesterday on a headset spotting and learning from one of North America's very best road racers, Ron Phillips. The lead has shrunk. Kurt Busch is now just 1 second ahead of Ryan Newman, and Robbie Gordon is now third.
Racing is in my blood.
Got it. Flat. Here, I'm planning on just dropping the rear air pressure 1 pound. 1 pound out of both rears and leave it where it is. But if I lower the track bar on the left side, it's going to hurt you in those right-handers that you're talking about. Inside. Barely there. Here. Clear. Inside.
Play with that throttle.
Well, I don't like the sound of that. That's just chattering those rear tires.
But that's turn 11, Darrell. You're going 35 miles an hour. You got 700 horsepower. You're bound to light them up every once in a while trying to get out of that hole.
In first gear.
Yeah, and you're in first gear.
You see right there.
And Mike, you got
It's really weird.
You got 700 horsepower park throttle. You got about 850 when you matter wide open.
Now we're at lap 21 of 110. You can see right up here in the box. And what that means is we're about 10 to 12 laps away from that window that Jeff Hammond and I talked about. And these guys will pit regardless, green or yellow, because that would get them to where they can do it on one more stop.
Still coming.
Yeah,
oh, that'd be Robbie Gordon.
If he makes that car a little bit better on his pit stop, look out. Robbie's on a roll.
That's the differential to the leader, Kurt Busch. Now, Newman had closed right up on Busch when we went to break, and now he's backed up toward Robbie Gordon, who has 2 wins and 7 top 5s here in 15 previous races. He won both of NASCAR's road course events in 2003.
We just see how Robbie rolled that car right down into turn 11 there and closed up a little bit more on the back of Ryan Newman into 12.
Explain this to me. Robbie Gordon looks slideways every oval track we go to, and yet his car looks so smooth here.
Well, this is his cup of tea, and this is what he really is. He's a road racing expert. You got to look at him right here. I mean, he is all over the back of Ryan Newman, and Ryan's going to have to let him go, and he better do it pretty quickly. Yikes!
Oh, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, he's out. He's out there in the no man's land, but he got it back.
Inside, clear.
May have to give a spot to Harvick here.
Nah, why not? I think I'll just force my way right on back around him.
And that's what he did.
Yes.
Wherever he goes, he is fun to watch.
The bunny just hopped right on by.
What, he lock up the brakes here, Darrell?
Yeah. He had a nose under a Newman. Thought he was going to get a run down into 4 there. Didn't quite make it. Got on the brakes. Thing got a little sideways, ran off. Fortunately, great runoff there. See the rear wheels hopping? Woo, that's bad.
Thank goodness
no.
he's got a lot of runoff area there.
But those rear wheels, we can maybe take a look at that again. Those rear wheels were bouncing, and that's just a lot of rear brake.
Let's check with Matt in Robbie's pit.
Just keyed the Mike, and he told his team, I wheel hopped it, trying to make a big run on the 12 of Newman. His car a little bit on the tight side. Now just trying to get himself back in a rhythm and work his way back toward the front.
And Darrell, that puts a period on what you're talking about, and just explain that. These guys can adjust the bias between the front and rear brakes, and you try to put as much rear as you can where the thing will turn getting in the corner.
Here's we talk about wheel hop. Watch the rear tire, the left rear tire there. Watch it. Bam, 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 bam. And notice how it stops and starts. It's working the rear gear. It's snatching on that rear gear, and it'll bust a tooth off the ring gear. There goes your gear.
Great camera shots, guys.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Yep. Great replays. Thanks.
You know, we talk about stuff all the time, like wheel hop, and people at home say, what is it? Well, there it is.
Kurt Busch has now pulled out to a 2.2-second lead over Ryan Newman. There you see it. As they come down through the S's and head for turn 10. Now there's Boris Said, who has fallen to 7th place, Matt.
Guys, you were speculating on Boris because he dropped 2 spots out of the top 5. Boris says the car just won't turn to the right. It's either sliding the nose, the front tire is sliding on the track, or he said something is binding in the steering. So they're going to keep an eye on this issue. And if it gets worse, they may have to pit a little earlier than they thought. But right now, he's just trying to hold on to their first scheduled stop.
Well, that's bad news, Matt, because there's 4 left turns here, but there's 8 right-hand corners.
I want to update some guys that started at the rear of the field. Denny Hamlin here in the 11 car, he started back in 40th position. This is a backup car. He crashed in practice over in turn 10 on Friday, went out and qualified this car with no practice. Remember, the last time NASCAR was at a road course with the Busch Series in Mexico, he won the race, but the car right in front of Denny, the 25 car, Brian Vickers, he about spun out qualifying. He started back in the 42nd position. Brian has worked his way up to the 23rd position, and Brian did win the race here yesterday, the race Dick Bergman was talking about, the Elite AutoZone West Series, sat on the pole, won that race in a Hendrick car.
Well, it was in actually a kind of a sentimental win for a Rick Hendrick car owner. It was Ricky Hendrick's car that Ricky had driven, and they brought it out here for Brian to drive. And so Rick said in the victory circle, he said that car will definitely be put in the Hendrick Museum as a keepsake.
Even had a paint scheme, I think, like Ricky always
Exactly. Car number 17, GMAC. Nice piece.
Roger Penske's Dodge has run 1-2 in Sonoma.
Are you 120 flat right there, Gordon, to the 1993 in front of you. Sorry, you're at a 1968. Gordon's at a 120. Stewart's at a 19.9. You're as quick as Robbie Gordon right there. Just let it keep coming to you. Don't overdrive your entries.
Nothing coming from behind for at least the straightaway, and save some of it for the end, too.
Back up there to what the leaders are. You and Robbie Gordon are probably the two of the better cars on the track. 1970 to Robbie Gordon's 1970. About 3 to 4 tenths quicker than Stewart and Gordon right now. Still there. Quarter panel, clean. Clear off the corner, all clear. Oh, 6-4 to a stop. 6-4 to a stop. We're going to do 2 rounds. Remember what I called you. We're going to do 2 rounds in the left rear. It's going to help you in the right.
Rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Here's the race for second place. Robbie Gordon's right back there, chomping away at the rear bumper of Ryan Newman.
Well, now is at a point in this run where you're going to find out who's got the good car on the long run, and Robbie's car looks like it's staying really, really good for him. The other thing is, Larry and Jeff, you know this, that first time in, I'm not going to gamble. If I think my max is 37 laps, I don't know if I'll run 37 laps this first go-around here, because I sure don't want to be sitting up at turn 7 complaining about being out of fuel.
Well, remember, they had 3 pace laps, but I think I know what's going on with Jeff Burton and his crew chief, Scott Miller. And there you see Kevin Harvick in the 29, another Childress car, Ryan Newman in the 12. These guys told me this morning, even though the pit window is 36 to 39, the Childress cars told me, Steve, they could probably go 41 to 42 laps. This is a scheduled stop for these guys.
It is, Larry Mack. In fact, Todd Berrier thought about pitting a couple of laps earlier. The 31 stopped on lap 26. Now here comes Kevin Harvick. He's been in the top 4 this entire race. Jason Pulver and Clint Pittman are the tire changers. Nick Terry, the jackman, comes around the front of that Chevrolet. Left side tires going on, Matt.
Hold on, Matt. The leader may have blown up. Kurt Busch had a big shower of sparks. Was it brake lockup?
Yeah, he got in turn 5 up there way too hard, way too hard.
All right.
Coming to you, Bones. On my way in. 4. Careful and watch your speed. 4,000. 4,000. Nice and smooth, guys. No mistakes. Watch your speed here. Remember, you'll be 8 pit boxes away, and you'll be 8, 6, 5, 4. Go ahead and start turning in. 3, 2, 1. Wheel straight, foot on the brakes. Go, 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 go. Speed, watch your speed. 4,000, 4,000. That column, you can go. All right, go. Clear all around, clear all around.
Chevy.
That's a long pit road, and I tell you what, you creep down through there.
Jamie McMurray is in the pits as well, as Kurt Busch comes to the attention of his crew and Matt Yoakum.
While the 2's working his way down pit road, the 24 Gordon's expected to also make his visit. Now, Kurt, he said the car was tight on the left, but it really loose on the exits, much like his teammate in the 12 of Newman. They made an air pressure adjustment. Busch's team is going to make a chassis and air pressure adjustment. The pole sitter, great run going so far today. Would love to add a Nextel Cup trophy next to his Southwest Tour trophy. He stalled the car on exit. The team pushes it, finally fires. He's away.
Tells me she was pretty low on fuel. When you take off like that, and they die a little bit. But also, did you notice he was right dead on the mark in his pit box?
Mark Martin and Greg Biffle have stopped. Brian Vickers now in, so is Casey Kane and Dale Earnhardt Jr., along with P.J. Jones.
Now, our leader right now is Tony Stewart in the 20 car. Now, this is when it's nail-biting for a crew chief that has not pitted. When you have as many cars that has pitted, now Tony Stewart's decided to pit, but when you have this many cars that has pitted and you have not, if a caution comes out, you're going to be forced to pit, and you're going to be way behind all these guys that just made these green flag stops.
So Boris Said will pick up the lead if he stays out on the racetrack instead of pitting, and the pit entrance is between turns 10 and 11 here. You come all the way around the outside of 11, and half the pit road is before turn 12, half of it's after. Here's Matt.
The 8 and the 9, Earnhardt Jr. and Kane have already pitted. Both were extremely loose. That's the same problem that Tony Stewart is battling. When he tries to jump in the gas, the car just breaks free. His team makes significant air pressure adjustment as Ira Joe Hussey hits those lugs. Good stop by the Home Depot guys. 24, Jeff Gordon is in. Now Steve Letarte was going to try to tighten him up, pull both spring rubbers out of both rear springs. His car just extremely free.
And one of the things about your first gear when you leave pit box, because we use first gear off of turn 11, it's a little higher than a normal first gear. So that's why these guys sometimes have trouble getting out of the pits.
Speaking of trouble, Tony Stewart is too fast entering the pits. He's going to get a drive-through.
And like Darrell mentioned, long pit road, 35 miles per hour. A mistake like this in a short race where you're only making 2 pit stops, it could take this crew right out of the equation, because we know they're going to have to make one more stop, probably with about 35 to 38 laps to go.
Now you enter the pits between turns 10 and 11, off to the left side of the road as you see Boris Set coming through here.
Here comes, guys, nice and smooth, 2 rounds in the left rear. Get them tight, nice and smooth, guys. Nice and smooth, 35 all the way to me.
The voice of Frank Stoddard, the crew chief.
Going to put some wedge in it.
Wheel straight.
Left rear, 2 rounds. That tightens the car up.
Makes it a challenge, though, because if you tighten it up for one direction, make it where it's not loose, it could make it loose for the other direction. So it's a real challenge with adjustment.
Let's go.
Now, our leader right now is Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. I've got to believe Chad Canals has to bring him into pit road the next lap, because if we get a caution right now, before he makes it to pit road, he'd have to restart this race probably about 34th or 35th, because almost everyone has made green flag stops.
But if you do your math, like you said, 37 laps, and you don't pay any attention to what everybody else is doing, he could very well be on his game plan.
Had a little contact between Robbie Gordon and Boris Set.
Oh, those two would be a fine pair to get together out there.
Turn 4.
Whoa, that gets so close right there.
Oh, it's just a pile of tires, Darrell.
Oh, Robbie. Yeah, hello, Boris.
That's that same area where Jamie McMurray, our outside pole sitter, had problems on lap 1 at the start of the race.
A little push come to shove there. Jimmy Johnson.
Little wave, too.
On pit road, Steve.
And Mike, Chad Canals was telling Jimmy, be very careful about pit road speed and guiding him down here with visuals, because the pit road dog legs left. Jimmy's saying his car was loose out of what he calls turn 8A, turn 10, and turn 1.
Now you saw Tony Stewart pass the yellow line across the track. That is where pit road speed begins. And with the length of this pit road, this is a costly penalty indeed.
Agonizing.
Now our leader is Kevin Harvick in the 29, and running second and Ryan Newman in the 12. You see the blue deuce back there. The reason these guys got the lead, they put their fresh tires on 2 laps before Kurt Busch, took advantage of it.
33 laps complete in the Dodge Save Mart 350 in Sonoma, California. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
$19.50. Good job. Just hit your marks.
Only at AutoZone. DLP technology from Texas Instruments powers the ultimate HD.
now you're the transfer position. You are transfer position. In car behind you will be trying to get with you. He just come off pit road in last lap.
Too fast exiting the pits on his first stop of the day. There's the lead, and it's not much. From Kevin Harvick back to the two Penske cars. I saw Harvick's car on a Richard Childress this morning, and I said, boy, what a great double dip trip. He has the winery there in Lexington, North Carolina, and he's been doing a lot of scouting out here in wine country, as well as looking over his 3 Nextel Cup teams.
Well, Harvick last night was sitting right in a spot there to win that Busch race in Milwaukee last night. Had a little trouble the last couple laps, kind of got turned around, cost him a win, but the guys that are running right behind him there, second and third, their car owner had a great night last night up in Richmond, Virginia. Won the IRL race up there last night with Sam Hornish Jr., so the captain's got his act together.
Communication is so key on the road course. Listen to Frank Stoddard and the spotter as they guide Boris Said down pit road and to his pit box a few laps ago.
Do not take any chances here. 3,500. Don't get caught on that first box. Pit this time, 3,500. Watch that first box down there, Boris. It's a yellow, big yellow line. Do not speed up. Do not speed.
Starts at the cone, 3,500 at the cone, 150 foot prior. Pit road now, boys. Be nice and ready for this stop. Concentrate good.
Great information.
The stall is right under the pit flagman, past the dog leg, 3,500.
And what they were trying to make him understand, and Darrell has talked about this a lot, is pit road speed no longer starts at that first pit box. It started way back there, 150 feet back at the cones. Do not speed. In fact, play it conservative here.
I think you look at Ricky Rudd when he drove for Tony Stewart at Dover a couple of weeks ago. Ricky got caught leaving the pit for speeding. The line was outside the pit lane. I think you got a guy like Boris Said. He doesn't run with us every week. So you got to give him that good information. You got to hammer it into his head how important that is.
Kevin Harvick has a mirror full of Dodge, and here comes Ryan Newman to the inside, and Kurt Busch trying to follow.
It's going from a mirror full to a side window full of those two Penske cars as Newman's going to take the lead here at lap 38. Kurt Busch, the 2, has to fall in line.
I believe that's our first green flag pass for the lead today as you watch from our DLP Ultimate Picture Cam. Uh-oh. J.J. Yaley doing a little agricultural racing. And his teammate Denny Hamlin has a flat right front, and caution is out.
It just happens that quickly on the road course. I mean, you can have wrecks all over the place, and none of them are related to each other. Of course, occasionally they are related to each other, too.
Well, they are related by being teammates, but watch the green 18.
Little off-road excursion there at turn 3.
And they're a little too hot.
It's a little dippy right there. The car wants to dip around and get loose. Coming downhill, those elevation changes They get to you after a while.
Second caution flag of the day, the first one on lap 1 with the attendant red flag. Ryan Newman, your leader in Sonoma.
Well, I went.
Better. Still a little tight in the right. Grip pretty right there. More shadow, buddy, and stay out this time. 10-4, stay out.
Just watching last times to like the lead guys, you were a lot better right there than you were, especially early in that first run. Late in that first run, you had a pretty decent car too, probably about a top 10 car. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Academy in the world's most powerful nation.
Probably surprised a lot of people. See a couple of guys taking an opportunity to come down pit road, Ron Fellows in particular, but this guy here is really putting on a pretty good demonstration against a guy like Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch. I mean, they know this racetrack and have got some pretty good road racing experience. So, I mean, to me, DW, I'd have to believe right now that Ryan Newman has got to be kind of like a surprise for being out leading this race.
And we'll get DW's comment in a moment. Kurt Busch is currently running third behind Ryan Newman. This has been a Visa race break. No matter what it takes, life takes Visa.
Ryan said the other day, I've got a really good car here. I'm really looking forward to this race. So maybe it's not such a surprise to see him out there in the lead.
Now we need to make the fans once again understand why nobody at the front pitted. Is because of the fact we talked at the top of the show. You come here with a game plan. You come here with an agenda that says, I'm going to make this a two-stop race. Almost everyone pitted of our leaders back between lap 26 and about 31. So we're a long way from that next window. We need to get up there close to about lap 70 or 72. That's when they'll come back to pit road for their final stop.
And just follow up a little bit on what Jeff was saying. I mean, Ryan Newman finished 8th in this race last year, or 9th. In this race last year, so he knows how to get around here. Interesting thing to me though is that you got Kurt Busch driving Rusty's old car, and they ran third and fourth here last year. Kurt did third and Rusty was fourth, so that's a good car for this road course.
Time for our second singular virtual crew chief question. You could be Matt Borland on this one. Who is the current king of NASCAR road racing? Pick from Jeff Gordon, Robbie Gordon, or Tony Stewart. To answer, text the word crew to 191 on your singular wireless phone or log on to FoxSports.com.
easy for you to say.
Slash singular.
Speaking of Tony Stewart, if there's someone that caution helped, it's Tony Stewart, the 20 car. Remember the last green flag stop? He had the pit road speeding penalty. Well, what this did, he had worked his way back up to the 12th position. It let him catch up. So that right there could let him overcome the penalty.
Kyle Petty got the free pass on this caution. He's back on the lead lap. From our DLP cable cam, what do you say we crank it up on this restart road race style? Coming to turn 11. Harvick under attack from Kurt Busch.
Kurt's hard on the brakes, man. He had a look inside of Harvick getting down in there, but he decided couldn't quite make the pass without getting into him, so he had to get on the brakes pretty hard there, smoking the tires. Seen that a couple of times out of that car.
Tell you what, I want to talk about this guy right here, Greg Biffle, in the 16 car. Started back in the 7th position. Remember, after that run at Michigan last week, finishing 4th, he bounced to the top 10 in points. He's working on the heels of 6 consecutive top 10 finishes, and he's trying to back it up here because he has 3 starts with no top 10 finishes. He's certainly trying to change that today.
Now that flat tire may have cost Denny Hamlin. He might fall out of the top 10 in points today. Kevin Harvick led some of this race, now running up in 2nd place. Steve Burns in his pit.
Mike, under caution, Kevin Harvick said, I'm loose on this set of tires, especially coming down the hill. The 41 car is spun on the racetrack.
Everybody gets around and dodges Reed Sorensen at turn 7. No caution. See if Sorensen, he can get refired. A little damage in the back.
Got spun out there, Jimmy. 4.
Jeff Gordon coming up into the lead battle. 3rd place right there.
Looks like they've adjusted on his car today and made it a lot better because he is moving now.
Yes, he is.
Well, let's see who may have gotten into the back of Reed Sorensen's target dodge.
See a little damage back there in the rear, so I got to believe somebody got down in there a little hot. Whoops. Number 26 car looked like that's turn 7. It's great passing place, but you got to give the guy, everybody's got to work their way through there.
Now Ron Fellows is in the pit stick.
And that's for a flat right rear tire, Mike. But boy, what a struggle these guys have been on. Car owner Cal Wells told me this morning he had spent in excess of $400,000, more than he ordinarily would spend to get into an automobile race, just to try to win this thing. His driver, Fellows, has won in NASCAR's Busch Series, in the Craftsman Truck Series, finished 2nd twice in the Cup Series. But with all the problems that they have had today, the most serious is the chassis. That expensive new chassis just hasn't hooked up.
Well, the biggest.
Gordon in the 24 on the move. DW said the car loose everywhere. Meanwhile, the other Gordon, Robbie, runs in the 7th position in the 7 car. He's going to have to be patient until their final stop. He came on the radio extremely upset at Boris said. Contact, he said, to the left front corner, possibly messed up the toe. Definitely, he says, messed up the aerodynamics on that left front corner. The car pushes like a dump truck.
Leader Ryan Newman has company coming. Jeff Gordon has climbed to 2nd spot and Kurt Busch to 3rd. Kevin Harvick back to 4th.
And just to go back to Ron Fellows, what Ron Fellows needs is what Tony Stewart got a while ago. He's still on the lead lap. He just needs a caution to get caught back up, but he needs it pretty quick because this race is going to go by in a hurry.
I tell you, it's going to go by in a hurry when that 24 jumps up there and takes the lead, because he's setting a blistering pace right now, and they have definitely improved his car. And no question about Jeff being a great road racing driver. So he's coming up there. He's going to get the lead here shortly.
Newman's lead, 1.1 seconds.
Whoops, back
Scott
here.
Pruitt. Everybody gets past.
He was trying to get it going again.
And that's turn 7.
Stay on the bottom there.
Once again.
Now, Scott was running in the 16th position, so he's going to go all the way almost to the back of the lead lap cars.
Let's see what happened to Pruitt. The number 40.
Another turn 7 incident. Looks like Elliott Sadler may have given the old Coors Light car a little bump. The train was coming. The gravy train, the dog train.
Oh, yeah.
Well, a lot of cars just squeaking by. Listen to this here.
Oh, there's a motor man somewhere that's cringing right now.
Tony Stewart has passed Robbie Gordon. So that will change 8th place. Boris Said has also gotten past Gordon.
It sounds like Robbie Gordon's having a problem with the car now that that damage. He hit Boris Said pretty hard there a little bit ago.
In what Tony Stewart in the 20 car, we got another car off in turn 7. I believe that might have been Jamie McMurray, the 26 car.
And Ron Fellows is limping to the pits.
Been a long day.
After turn
Get me
10.
out clear. We got 2 more. And coming by you. 1 right there. Clear, all clear.
Brandon Ash goes by. And here's what happened to Fellows.
I don't think he looks like he's stalled right there.
Caution is out. Caution is out. That's the caution that Tony Stewart needs right there again to get caught up more.
It was the caution Ron Fellows needed until he became the caution by stopping and blocking the entrance to pit road.
Looks like Stewart's got a good bit of damage on his left front fender too.
Watch the 26 of McMurray come sailing in. Oh boy, P.J. Jones just body slammed him.
Turn 7 again. I mean, you get a run across that little short chute there, and then there's no place to go. The guys, you got to make the corner. You got to give a guy room to make the corner. Just wasn't enough room there for 2 cars. That was a pretty hard shot that time. Very hard.
Looks like that possibly could be rubbing a left rear tire on that 4 car, P.J. Jones.
Yeah, the 26 has got a lot of damage down the right.
You got to wonder with the speed that Jones carried in there, did the brakes lock up or did maybe the brakes fail?
I don't know. I don't think he was using a whole lot of brakes, so it's hard to tell.
Third caution flag of the day, and officially it's for Ron Fellows stopping at the entrance of pit road.
It's been about 16 laps since these guys pitted on the green, but trust me, we can go to break, but they're not going to come now yet. Still got a long way to go.
All right, I believe you.
Take 10 laps and I'll tell you. 4. You're probably getting the rotor shake and stuff that those other guys have been complaining about earlier on short tracks and stuff for some reason. Lap times are right there with everybody. That last lap you just ran. Guys, we're going to need to pull that left front fender out too. Show the official. Did you tell the official? Tell him when he comes back by the next time to look at it so he understands that we're going to be pulling this. When to go, green when you get back. Get yourself plenty to drink right there too, Boris, while you got the chance right here. And we'll get you another water bottle at the stop.
Sides at no extra cost. Do Wendy's. Do what tastes right.
This is Duralast, the alternator built.
Final NASCAR on Fox race of the season next Saturday night under the lights. Daytona International Speedway, the Pepsi 400.
Oh, yeah, we do a little racing, we do a little wrecking, we're having a big old time.
47 laps complete. Ryan Newman, the leader, under caution, down to Jeff Hammond at our Ford Fusion cutaway car.
We've been talking all day long about transmissions and brakes and how important all that stuff really comes into play. When you come here to Sears Point, or Infineon as they want to call it, bigger brake pads than ever. These guys come in here with so much more brake pads, 6-piston calipers, special transmissions, I mean synchronizers. But the problem right now we've been seeing here lately is things braking. It could break. Already had a problem here in the rear gear area with a guy wheel hopping, possibly breaking this rear end gear. So many things can go wrong on a road course. And as you well know, DW, it's up to that driver to take care of it as we get ready to go back to green.
Yeah, a driver really controls his own destiny here more than anywhere else because of all the things that he has. He has hold of the gear shift, he has hold of the accelerator, brakes. He controls all that stuff more here than anywhere else.
Back to green. Ryan Newman leading Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Greg Biffle. 3 of our road course ringers having problems that last lap.
I'll tell you one thing, these guys are not timid today about beating on each other. I wouldn't do that to Tony if I were you.
Typical now. Clear, 7 in your mirror.
Tony was pretty hard on old Boris right there.
See Kyle Busch in the 5 car battling Joe Nemechek in the 01 car. Kyle back in the 15th position. Remember how hard he hit the wall, but we got a battle for the lead, boys. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, all over the back of the rear bumper of Ryan Newman in the 12.
Hard to make passes right where he was. But watch Jeff, he'll get a little run. He'll fall back here just a little bit. Now he's going to come down here to turn 10. He's going to close up right here, try to get underneath the 12. Get good run off of turn 10. Look to the inside and try to outbrake him getting down in here, and he does.
Take the position away if he can get that good forward bite off the bottom. And he will win the battle off of the last corner up past the start-finish line. Gordon will lead this lap.
He had to clear Newman before that left-hander, though, or that would have put him on the outside instead of the inside.
You say hello, Newman, and I say goodbye.
Jeff Gordon to the lead over the Penske duo. of Newman and Kurt Busch. Busch was our pole sitter, and he has led this race the most number of laps so far, 29 laps. So as Jeff Gordon goes to the lead, we'll pay off our singular virtual crew chief question. Who is NASCAR's leading king of the road? Tony Stewart.
He has been lately.
Winner of the last
4 in a row here.
Congratulations, Russell Tilson, who will win Jeff Burton's payday next week in Daytona. Nice prize. Winner of our singular virtual crew chief sweepstakes.
As we ride with Jeff Burton in the 31 car. Now, right now, he is in the 11th position. We know when we got to that first set of green flag stops, Stewart locked it up, got loose, gets in the side of Boris.
Oh, no, this is going on. This started
now,
a little bit ago.
Right side.
That was war.
Yeah, they're just kind of trading a little paint right now. They just started back there when Tony sort of used Boris up. Boris was kind of using Tony up that time.
Now there's one back, the 31. He'll race you clean.
Tony just got down in there so hard, out of control. I have to give Boris a lot of credit. He showed a lot of restraint right there because he's not racing for the championship, and he knows Tony is. But look, Tony is lucky that he didn't wreck them both.
I think it's a good thing Boris was there for Tony.
Exactly.
Yeah. Tony had a hard time steering to the right to stay off him.
Cool, be smooth. Inside, smoking his brakes, right side. Right side.
Well, did that leave Tony Stewart with a damaging tire rub?
Well, that smoke that's definitely where that smoke's coming from, and that tire's been in there pretty hard on the left front.
Where there's smoke, there's tire.
No, there's Tony.
And the thing about it, the box that this would put this group in is we're at lap 50 with 60 to go. We're probably a good 15 to 18 laps out from what these guys would like to be their final pit stop, but that's a pretty serious tire rub right there.
That thing can't drive right either with that tire pushed in, with that fender pushed in against the tire like that.
Stewart has rebounded from a pit road speeding penalty to climb his way up into the top 8.
Well, you know, a few weeks ago, you know, I was debating about Tony setting the race out when he was hurt, maybe not even going to Dover, not racing at Dover. They elected to do that. And I was thinking, well, you just got to be in the top 10, and he was comfortably there. But, boy, I tell you what, you start putting these races together, though, what happened at Michigan last week, you have a problem here, and we still got a good ways to go to that 26th race. Got to be careful. You'll find yourself outside the top 10.
How many times this year have we talked about a situation with the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, our points leader? Now, didn't get that great of a qualifying run. He qualified 16th. You heard Dick Bergman talking about a new chassis that Ron Fellows had here. This is the same type of chassis. These guys were terrible yesterday. They said the car was so loose, but Steve looks like they have made the right adjustments again on his 48 car.
Yeah, Larry Mack, they were frustrated in happy hour practice, but Jimmy Johnson just said it's better than it was early in the race. The longer we run, the more the car shows its strength. Chad Knaus, the crew chief, said so. You mean it is getting better? Jimmy said, yes, it is.
And if I remember, during that happy hour, Jimmy Johnson was the cheerleader that said, guys, let's just keep working on it. Let's just keep after it.
Well, Pratt and Miller, that build the Corvettes for Chevrolet's road racing program, built these cars for Cal Wells and for Rick Hendrick to run here, hoping they'd have a better bullet for the race at Sonoma.
I relate it to my computer. A lot of times I'm mad at my computer because it won't do what I want it to, and it's not the computer. So I say there's something wrong with the computer. There's nothing wrong with the computer. It's the operator. And so they've had to learn about this car, and I think the more they run it, the more they'll learn, and the more they'll know what button to push.
52 laps in, and Jeff Gordon's lead over Ryan Newman has grown to 1 second, Matt.
Right now, the top 3, Mike, just trying to be patient. Now, if Gordon can hold on and score a victory, it'll be the second time in his career that he's had to wait until outside of the first third of the season to score the season's first win. Now, the car's still on the free side, while the guy in his mirror, Ryan Newman, in the 12, his car, like Gordon, free on exit, while the 2 of Busch on the tight side going down into 1.
know, while we're talking about Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, I want to make a note about his teammate again, Brian Vickers in the 25 car. We made note of him earlier. He started all the way back in the 42nd position. He has now cracked the top 15 in 14th. You know why? They have stayed after the racetrack keys. He has stayed on the racetrack, no self-inflicted mechanical failures, and right now, that group, Lance McGrew, they're on their own race, their own strategy.
Coming off of a win yesterday doesn't hurt anything either.
Nope, got off the track in qualifying, started 42nd.
Working on his teammate there.
He and Kyle Busch don't seem to have a lot of regard for the curbing here.
Well, you can't. It's in the way. Put it right in the worst place you could possibly be.
You're right. Kurt Busch led most of the first 29 laps. He now finds himself in third, right behind his Penske Racing teammate Ryan Newman. We listened in.
Kurt, just thinking ahead to our last stop. Did we make any improvements there last time?
We got it looser in turn 3, but turn 1 I'm struggling. I really got to shut down early. So I don't know if it's just that the front tires are getting worn out as far as the way the front end's controlling itself. I don't know.
Okay, 10-4, turn 1, I'm taking it that you're tight, turn 1. And that right now is your biggest problem.
And the problem these guys have, everyone has, and you've got to get as much information as you can. That was Kurt Busch telling his crew chief, Roy McCauley, what he has. As we've been talking, probably only one more pit stop to make the right adjustments and get the right set of tires on that car.
Weight transfer on a road course car is so critical. I mean, we talked about the rocking chair. You want it to transfer forward under braking. You want it to rock back under acceleration. That's what you fight, trying to get that balance of stopping when you want it to and turning, and then getting that good bite drive off the corner.
That said, Jeff, Greg Biffle's car looks pretty good. Looks like he's kind of in that rocking chair.
Mike, he really is. Got a chance to talk to Doug Richard earlier this morning, and he said, man, you just don't understand how much better this week has been than a year ago. They had a lot of problems in qualifying a year ago, wound up starting back at like 40th, couldn't get back up to about 14th, and they felt like if they had a solid qualifying effort, which they did, that he could keep up with these guys. Doug was very confident. He said, Greg is kind of underrated, I think, as a road racer, and so far he's given me good information. He's been smooth. And the key thing, Larry McReynolds, he's kept that 16 car on this surface all day long and been very smooth.
Oh, yeah, he has. I mean, we've seen him out of shape a few times, as we've seen almost everyone. This place is so slick right now, but great job by Greg and Doug.
It is, and that takes a lot of people to make that happen, because we know how aggressive Greg Biffle is. He likes to hang it out. He'll brush that thing up against the wall. He'll put a fender under you in a heartbeat. So you got to have a lot of people coaching you to come here and be disciplined to run this race.
Now, Darrell, look at this group coming, led by Tony Stewart right there with Morris Set behind. Those two just passed Robbie Gordon a lap ago. And said ever since that big bump in turn 11, he's been scrambling, trying to get back to Stewart.
He is, and he's there now, and I'd keep a real close eye on those two. Because
I'll talk to him after. He's going to hear from me.
I think I'll rest my case. I know what Boris just said.
Professor said, Jeff Gordon leading with 55 laps complete, halfway.
Can't fear anyone. To a 1960 in front of you. Just keep following him up through there. See if we can get to him and get by that 48, okay? Nice and smooth. still there. Clear, bud. Go get that 29. You're looking good. Caution.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by DLP Picture Technology from Texas Instruments.
We're under caution for the 4th time today as our DLP camera shows you the stacks of tires that protect turn 11. One of those stacks has been moved by Joe Nemechek. And there it is.
Oh, yeah. Say that Joe may have gotten a little shove there from the 99. And look at those tires. They just...
Nice 2-point landing.
Let's see what happens here. Here comes the 99.
He got loose on his own.
Poor Carl. He's 21 car earlier in the day. We thought he may have had something. He didn't have anything to do with that either. Good job, Carl.
Sorry, Carl. Wish we had an onboard camera, though. And a tough break for the Army car of Joe Nemechek. Now, we told you and showed you earlier that Tony Stewart had gotten past Robbie Gordon, and so did Boris Said. We didn't show you how it happened, but now we can. It was turn 11 once again. You're watching from Boris Said. Tony just ahead. Punt. Pass.
A little rough out there.
Now Boris had already had a run-in with Stewart.
But the 20 had a little bit of an issue with the way you passed him. That's why he retaliated like that, supposedly. But just that information for you. We don't need to take each other out here. Let's be smart about this.
Amen. Both of these guys, they've got good race cars. They just need to settle down, put that behind them. If they want to talk about it after the race, have at it. But you've got 2 cars that potentially could finish in the top 5.
This caution gives everybody a chance to settle down. It's the 4th one of the day.
Wonder if it came in as loud and clear in those cars as it did up here in the booth. I didn't hear a voice respond.
I didn't hear Kid 4.
I didn't hear anything.
Now let's talk about this caution right here. We've got 51 laps to go. We're still about 10 to 12 laps away from that window we've been talking about that would let these guys make a pit stop that would make it to the end without stopping again. I still firmly believe that most of these guys in the top 15 or 20, they're still on their game plan because they know probably everyone up there will stay out, so you'll be on equal tires.
So we'll expect everybody to follow the Dodge Ram. As we roll out through this caution, we'll go to Dick Berggren for today's State Farm Safety Report.
Well, thanks, Mike. Every one of the race cars today has got a convex mirror just like this one attached to the left side so they can see who's beside them so that when they try to make a left-hand turn, they can do that. They've also got a mirror on the top of the headliner so they can see who's behind them, but the entire right side of the car is a blind spot. For that reason, they've got spotters all over the racetrack to tell them when they're clear high, clear low, so they can move left or right without running into anybody. Perhaps the biggest single cause of major crashes on big superhighways are people moving left or moving right, changing lanes with a blind spot in their car that they don't know is there, and they change lanes right into somebody else, and that's a problem. Look twice. Your car almost certainly has a blind spot, especially for a motorcycle.
Thanks, Dick. There's one of those outside review mirrors on Dale Jarrett.
And to show you how the sport evolves, we used to try to use one of them. NASCAR wouldn't let us. That was not, they didn't want it sticking out there on that A post, and they didn't want you to have a mirror on the A post. You could have one mirror.
Here's a look at what's happened today at Infineon Raceway. A 5-car crash triggered when Kenny Schrader spun, led to a 12-minute red flag. Kurt Busch, the early leader. He gave way to Ryan Newman, then Jeff Gordon, then Kevin Harvick, then Tony Stewart. Boris Said led a lap, so did Jimmy Johnson. Nobody bites for pit road. And in another lap or so, we'll go back to green. You're watching the Dodge Save Mart 350 on Fox.
On pit road, Paul. 450, Kyle. Go, go, go. Darn, darn. Being coming back to the green, Michael. He's just calling in the corner now.
How am I going to punish that?
Hey, what do you guys? Today's aerial coverage brought to you by Vegas.com. For the best deals on rooms, shows, and more, book now at Vegas.com. See the Dodge SRT pace truck leading the field around to the restart. It'll be 61 laps complete, 49 to go. Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle.
That's a great shot of why track position and when you pit and where you are in line is a good example right there, because look how far back you'd be. These guys are taking the green flag. If you had to pit now, look where you'd be. You wouldn't even be to turn 11 yet.
Almost like being a full lap down at Martinsville.
Yeah, exactly. Because you get single file restarts here. You don't double up.
Double file at 5th place. Tony Stewart on the outside going after Biffle for 4th.
That's a pass you won't see attempted very often, and he will not be successful with it coming off of turn 2.
Scott Pruitt is off. He came through turn 1 side by side with another car and paid the price.
Now Stewart's going to attempt it on the inside down into turn 4 right there, and he'll make the pass.
Oh,
Johnson
Johnson
turned around.
Around and goes.
And how Jeff Burton didn't hit him is amazing.
That's a NASCAR 360 right there.
I don't think I've ever seen 4 wide on a road course before, but there it was.
Well, you can do it, but you won't make it. It's a problem.
They all got through.
And he's only going to lose about 6 positions.
He was 7th. Now he's 14th.
Falls in right in front of his teammate Brian Vickers in that 25 car.
His biggest problem is I think he probably made his tires pretty mad.
Today's Allstate Good Hands driver, Jimmy Johnson. On behalf of Jimmy, Allstate will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the Urban Youth Racing School. Allstate official insurance sponsor of NASCAR.
Ooh, he might have got a little tap.
He gets my vote, though.
That was just in, too, by the way. Another miraculous save by Jimmy Johnson.
Dale Jr. very unhappy with his race car, and he is on pit road for tires and maybe an adjustment.
And this is too far out of the window. 48 laps to go. This will not take him to the end. But just to update you on our leaders right now, I think we'll see most of those guys on pit road in about the next 9 to 11 laps for what would be a final pit stop of the day.
Robbie Gordon just got into the back of Kyle Busch and made the pass. They were racing for 8th place.
Yeah, Kyle's got a problem. He's real slow over there.
And now you see Scott Pruitt.
They're still there.
Oh,
Easy.
boy.
I think that's the problem Dale Earnhardt Jr. ended up having.
Yeah. Pruitt hit 4 cars in one corner there, not intentionally. And here's Robbie Gordon trying to get past a fading Kyle Busch.
Tell you what, Kyle Busch did a good job of hanging on to that piece.
It's like a zoo over there. Bunnies, tigers.
Oh my.
But now Kyle Busch in the 5 brings his car to pit road with 47 laps to go. Again, I think that's a good 5 to 6 laps out of the window to make it to the end.
Look at how tight this lead pack is.
Oh yeah, this 12 car, Ryan Newman, has been nipping away on the back bumper of that 24. 24 has lost a little bit of his advantage he had there a while ago. I'm pretty impressed with both the 12 and the 2 today. They've been very right front the whole day, right there in the top 2 and 3. But by the same token, the 2 best road racers, in most people's opinion, the 24 and the 20, are getting closer to the front and closer together. Obviously, the 24 is leading, but here comes the 20, inching his way right in the picture.
And he has had a very eventful day.
Yes, he has.
Speeding on pit road under the first pit stop. A lot of damage on the left front fender. The tire was rubbing for a while.
And this 5-car battle is about to be 7 as Harvick and Sed close up on the leaders. Meanwhile, 8th place Robbie Gordon drops off to the pit lane. Matt?
It seems like Robbie's day took a turn for the worse ever since he had the contact with the 60 of Boris Said. The car hasn't been the same. You see on the right side of your screen, Robbie making his way to his pit stall. Thought he might have had a tire going down. They're also going to try to work on the cosmetic issues of the fender.
You just can't work on it right now. You got to make this stop and get out of here.
Again, this stop will come for Robbie Gordon with 46 laps to go. Not known for getting great fuel mileage. This, I think, again, he's going to have to make one more stop for fuel near the end.
Reed Sorensen, also a quick stop. I'm very impressed with Ryan Newman, for a fellow who came out of the Midwest racing open wheelers on oval tracks. He is really showing some road course prowess today.
He's actually got a lot better car than Jeff Gordon right now. But the problem is there's only, again, 2 places to pass. They just went by one of them. The other one's up there at the top of the hill at turn 7. You can't get it done there. It's pretty much follow the leader.
Daryl, I want to propose a question to you. Jeff Gordon, I mean, obviously he knows about this place. He knows how to win. He knows how to lose here. But do you think with him knowing he's coming to pit road in 5 to 6 laps, he's only going to run that car as hard as it needs to right now?
Yeah, I think you're right, Larry, but I also think that the timing of if the tires are gone and you're getting close to a pit window, this is when you want the car to be the worst. You know, it's supposed to be bad right now. You put Jeff Gordon in front on a road course, it's pretty hard to get around him.
And that's the other thing. When you're in front, you're running your race. When you're following, you're running somebody else's race.
Can dictate the pace of the race. You know there's only 2 places you can get past, so just protect those 2 places.
Tell you what, we've not talked a lot about Mark Martin today in the 6 car. He comes in here 5th in the points. He qualified in the 8th position. He's right on his normal schedule. Right now, he's sitting there in the top 10. Now, Mark has 39 career road course starts between here, Watkins Glen, and Riverside. 32 of those 39 top 10 finishes.
You look in the record book, Larry, you look at top 5s and top 10s, most of the time you'll see his name right there.
Oh, Mr. Inside becomes Mr. Outside. Tony sent it in there, but
it's hard to make that.
Yep, Kurt was not going to give him the corner.
Hard to make that stick.
Tony had quite a run, but Kurt would not give him the inside. Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, all but nose to tail with 66 laps complete.
About 3,700. Coming around the corner on pit road.
And so Jarrett spun coming up the hill. Now here's Ryan Newman and Greg Biffle on pit road. There is no caution flag for Jarrett, Steve.
And there will be no adjustments to this number 16 Ford for Greg Biffle, Mike. Adam Emmert and Joe Slingerland are the tire changers. No adjustments for Greg Biffle. Left side tires going on. Matt.
42 laps to go. Jeff Gordon still the leader, but Newman on pit road. No changes for the 12, trying to score his second top 5 finish here at Infineon. 13.8 seconds for Newman.
Boris Sett is in, the top road course ringer in this race. Mark Martin completes his stop. Jeff Burton, Boris Sett, Matt Kenseth, Martin Truex, Michael Waltrip, Kyle Petty back out in the race. J.J. Yaley as well.
Now, with all these guys making their final pit stop, when you look at Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, those guys, when they get to the window, they can make it to the end. They've got to hit pit road, because if a caution comes now, they're burned. And you see Tony Stewart's on pit road right now in the 20.
Scott Pruitt is in as well.
Right now, if a caution comes out, Jeff Gordon would be in big trouble.
But he's got to go to the window that he thinks he can make it. And I tell you another thing a lot of crew chiefs are thinking, they want a little bit of insurance, because we always stand a chance of overtime, a green, white, checkered beyond lap 110.
So Gordon stays on track. Stewart has given up the lead. Here he comes to his pit stall. Matt.
Steve Letarte, Gordon's crew chief, sticking with his game plan of about 10 laps after the restart. On the right side of your screen, Tony Stewart's in. Now, Greg Zipadelli was told by Stewart, don't be shy, take a big swing at it. We really need to get this car to turn better on the right-hand corners. We over-adjusted on the last stop, 14.9 seconds for Stewart. Gordon should be in next time.
And if you notice, they didn't spend a lot of time working on those fenders on that 20 car, because they didn't want to give up that much time on the racetrack.
No, just enough to get a little clearance there in the front of it. That's all it needed.
Clint Boyer has made his stop. Gordon is still the leader. He has the fastest lap of the race, and now here he comes to pit road. The pit road speed limit starts right there. Jeff?
Mike, we've been talking about you've got to get to where your window works. But the key thing here right now, guys, and we're going to see it as these pit stops kind of play out, is having to try to get to those windows. It could put you way back down in track position. It could also hurt you. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how good Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart are coming back through traffic right now. And Matt Yoak was down there, I think, in the 24th pit. Matt?
Now, Gordon's team will make an air pressure adjustment on the stop. Gordon said the car was loose, really bad on the lefts, not as bad loose on the right, so they're going to try to correct that with an air pressure adjustment for the four-time winner here at Infineon. Great stop by the DuPont guys.
Nice stop by the 24 bunch, guys. I mean, that was quick.
Ryan Newman right with him after pit stops.
Just like they went in.
Yep. Greg Biffle is there. Stewart is there. Now they're trailing Jimmy Johnson by 5.5 seconds. Jeff Green has made his stop. So has Denny Hamlin.
Now here comes Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. He'll make his pit stop. So now Chad Knaus can breathe.
Right, and the two fellows who are stretching and staying out are Terry Labonte and Jeremy Mayfield, who will be second and third right now.
Well, they're not stretching it as far as fuel because those guys were on pit road on the last caution at lap 60, but they're stretching it if a caution comes out.
Right. Steve?
And Chad Knaus telling Jimmy Johnson to be very careful of pit road speed. 4 tires for the 48. Jimmy Johnson gets a drink. Don't see any adjustments. He gets a clean windshield. The tear off comes off. Now tires to the left side of Johnson's Chevrolet. No adjustments. 4 tires and pack full of fuel for Jimmy Johnson.
And on your left, the 8th different leader of the day is a man who is one of NASCAR's all-time best road racers, Terry Labonte. He's driving the DLP Chevrolet today for Troy Aikman and Roger Staubach.
And again, Terry can probably go to about lap 100 on fuel with about 10 to go. But we know he's going to have to make one more stop.
It's right along with Terry, Darrell. He's always impressed me with his smoothness in road race car.
Yeah, you can hear him work the throttle. Car's nice and stable. You don't see him, you know, he's not even using up the whole racetrack. And you got, you know, he's reaching over with that right hand, grabbing that shifter. Looks pretty casual in there right now. Feels pretty comfortable leading this race, I'd say. He's not under any pressure. Hard braking down into turn 11. A lot of wheel. Accelerate off the corner, nice and straight. And here the cable cam's going to pick you the DLP. Cable cam gets the DLP car going down the start finish line. Wow, what a shot. I love it when a plan comes together.
Terry Labonte in his final season of Nextel Cup racing and a career that's produced 2 championships is your leader in Sonoma.
Goodyear knows.
Stop. Clear. Buddy, focus now. Let's go pick up that 29 car. We got to get him. We're going to race him for position today. Focus and go get him.
You are watching the Dodge Save Mart 350 from the Infineon Raceway on NASCAR In-Car. Only available on digital.
And none of these have ever won this race before. Let's check on road scholar Scott Pruitt, having some trouble spinning out, falling back to 30th. Road rage here. P.J. Jones into Jamie McMurray. Ron Fellows having trouble stalling at the entrance to pit road. And Boris said the only one of the road specialists to lead a lap today, getting into it with Tony Stewart. Boris said currently running 9th. This has been a Visa race break, and no matter what it takes, life takes Visa. And Jeff, we have not had too much other than Boris said threatening for the lead of this race.
No, we really haven't so far. Watching the timing and scoring, keeping an eye on Terry Labonte, who we know has got to come to pit road. Jeff Gordon is just, really starting to flex some muscle here late in this race. Ryan Newman's trying to keep pace, but so far they got him on and off pit road without any kind of issues. And Jeff Gordon, again, the minor adjustments they made early on, he looks like he, if you want to win this race, you've got to go up and take it away from him.
Well, he's the king of the road, leading in his 10th race this year, but he's yet to win a race, and only twice in his career as he started out the first 15 races without getting a win. Hoping for that today, moving up to second ahead of Ryan Newman, right behind Terry Labonte. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
See a lot of folks at the races across the country using the Nextel fan view, including some of our Fox Sports staff. And interestingly enough, some of the race teams use it too. You can get a lot of interesting stats on there. Follow your favorite drivers' onboard cameras. Listen to up to 3 minutes of past audio on the rewind feature. And yesterday during practice, David Gilliland's team all had fan view screens, and they were getting their practice lap times off of fan view. Pretty neat trick, and you can rent that for use at every NASCAR Nextel Cup race. There's the Dutch Quality Stone car of David Gilliland, a Dodge. He is running in 37th. He is 1 lap off the pace right now.
Robbie Gordon was gosh, kind of always left.
He would not turn when he got on the pit road.
Hit the wall.
He'll try to nurse it to his pit stall. Cut tire and maybe trouble in the steering.
Saw him coming down through the shortcut back here. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to his tire. He may have just locked it up and blown it out. I kind of think that was what probably happened. He must have locked up that left front tire and just locked it up and slid it and blew it out.
Labonte the leader, Jeff Gordon the fastest car on the racetrack. Let's check with Dick Berggren.
Yeah, and I just talked to Labonte's crew chief, Felipe Lopez, and asked him how far they could go without needing fuel. And he really gave us a surprise. He said they could go all the way to the end. The reason? The car is that much slower than the very fastest cars. So it's not using as much fuel as the fastest cars.
Well, the bad news, Dick, is he has a 10-second lead on Jeff Gordon. He is 1 second a lap slower, and there's a lot more than 10 laps remaining.
Somewhere, though, they're trying to find about 20 miles worth of fuel. That's a lot of fuel.
34 laps to go.
Still there, still there. All clear, all clear. Way to go, buddy, way to go. Good job.
Flat.
He seems to be able to chase Gordon back down, and Tony's not too far behind Ryan Newman.
4 cars out of the race in the lap 1 crash: Schrader, Marlin, and Hubert. And they are now joined by Robbie Gordon. Let's find out what happened to Robbie.
Even in disappointment, Robbie just finished signing some autographs for some fans. Robbie, first off, the incident with Boris, did that knock the toe out?
Yeah, it did. We had a good car. I mean, I was easily driving up to the 2 car, and we had a bad pit stop. And when I came around, I don't know if Boris didn't know I was on the outside or whatever, but he just kept coming, and it slammed my left front tire. And I knew it knocked the toe because it put about a half a turn in the left front in the steering wheel. So I think it knocked the left front in.
And the final problem?
I think it all came down to that toe. Finally wore out the left front tire. When I wore out the left front tire, I was trying to take it easy coming in. When I turned right to make the right-hander coming in, it just didn't turn, went straight in the wall.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks.
Tough break for one of NASCAR's best road racers, Robbie Gordon, out of it here today. Jeff Gordon closing. Now that's Ron Fellows right behind Labonte. Fellows is 10 laps down. He spent some time making repairs on pit road after the car stalled on course. Time for our final singular virtual crew chief question of the day. Will Tony Stewart four-peat and win his 4th straight NASCAR road race? He right now is in 4th place. And he's 9 seconds off the lead. 3 seconds behind Jeff Gordon, who is second.
And has had a very eventful day. Pit road speeding penalty. You see all the damage on the left front. His crew did a little bit of work on that on the last pit stop. And he's all over the rear bumper, Ryan Newman in the 12. Now, again, I want to go back to Felipe Lopez, the crew chief for Terry Labonte, the 96 car, who right now has a little over a 6-second lead over Jeff Gordon. When the caution came out on lap 60, they pitted. That's 50 laps to go. As I walked through the garage area this morning, the most laps I could find anybody that they could run is 42 laps. That puts these guys 8 laps shy. This is a 1.99 road course, so that means they're about 15 to 16 miles shy. How many gallons of fuel would they have to save? 4 gallons of fuel, DW, because these cars get about 3.7 or 3.8 miles per gallon. Now, again, he's running a much slower pace than Jeff Gordon, and Darrell, you can save a lot of fuel as a driver at a road course.
You can on a road course. I'll tell you how. You short shift. You never see max RPM. You just are quickly through the gears, get it in high gear, and let it lug a little bit. And that'll save a lot of fuel. I don't believe it'll save 4 gallons, but it'll save a lot of fuel.
Well, and it's even if he can make it to the end, when you see how much Jeff Gordon, the 24, is closing on him with 29 laps to go, it's not going to win the race. But if they can make it, it indeed could end up being a 10th, a top 10 finish.
Oh, yeah, I think right now he's not really worried about possibly winning this race. He'd love to. He'd just like to be sure he has enough fuel to finish this race.
There is the lead. Gordon enters turn 11. as Labonte exits, and Jeff Gordon chews 1 full second out of Terry Labonte's lead every lap. 28 to go.
Doing great, bud. Just keep saving gas. Put more and more distance on a lot of places in 10th place. Keep going.
Car behind you had a flat tire, fresh tires, still clear.
With the 2-car spotter here, let's hold him up here. Step 4. Nice and smooth, you should have him this lap, nice and smooth.
interesting strategy by these two cars. Tommy Baldwin, Elliott Sadler's crew chief in the 38, and then the car right behind Elliott Sadler, Casey Kane, the winner from Michigan. These guys right now are running 8th and 9th. This is two cars that struggled to stay in the top 20 today, even after a good qualifying run by Casey. What those guys did, when the caution came out on lap 60, they pitted for 4 tires on the caution. They made up a lot of ground with those fresh tires. Then they got back on sequence with everyone else as they were making green flag stops by making another stop. Here's two cars in the top 10 that's doing it on a 3-stop race.
Kyle Busch has popped into the top 10 and 9th, and there's Jimmy Johnson 11th, the Nextel Cup point leader. Johnson's had a pretty uneventful day compared to some of the things we've seen.
Well, he did have that one spin. I mean, you know, remember when he got spun around down there, but he did the 360 and kept on going. I'm surprised he's running in 11th place with that little incident he had, but they did good pit work. He's led the race today.
Outside pole sitter Jamie McMurray had a big fright on the very first lap, turn 2, got off in the dirt and spun all the way around. Went back to 39th. Climbed back into the top 20.
Heard him say that one time, boys, it's been a long day. And that was at halfway.
Right.
This is another car that is doing it on the 3-stop race. The one car, Mark Truex Jr., remember, had to go to the rear of the field because of an engine change. Kevin Mannion, his crew chief, pitted him on lap 60 like Sadler and Casey Kane, and then came again 8 lap later just to get back on sequence with the leaders with tires and all, and they can go to the end.
Two of the Roush cars running nose to tail, Mark Martin, Carl Edwards in 12th and 13th. And Terry Labonte has been caught by Jeff Gordon. Let's go back to Labonte's pits, Dick.
And Terry Labonte has Felipe Lopez, his crew chief, in his ear, reminding him to save fuel. The last time he pitted was lap 60. The other thing Labonte keeps hearing from Lopez is what he has got to do in order to earn a top 10 finish this year. This car, owned by Troy Aikman and Roger Staubach, best finish so far this year, a 16th at Pocono. So that would be forward progress.
Another interesting story about the 96 car. Now, I'm just going to lay the elements out there. One thing that you can do at a road course is you can run a little smaller carburetor. Remember, this team had the rules infraction at Daytona because of having a smaller carburetor there. You can't do it with a restrictor plate, but you can do it here at a road course, and a lot of people will do that for 2 reasons: fuel mileage and lack of forward bite with the rear tires.
So Jeff Gordon has become the leader. Once again, he's led 22 laps. Kurt Busch has led 29, and still a lot of different scenarios and strategy to play out on the left-right turns.
This is for the kids, for the pets.
Go ahead, all the way. Timmy, he's 11 laps down. You can let him go. Still good, Scott. Clear by 20.
with us from Northern California. The aerial coverage brought to you by Vegas.com for the best deals on rooms, shows, and a lot more. Book now on Vegas.com. 20 laps to go. And no matter where you view the race from, Jeff Gordon is your leader, the king of the road and the king of Infineon Raceway. Some fans taking in the race and getting ready for Pebble Beach one day, which is not far from here, out of turn 4. These fans, a little shade in the 80-degree temps, low humidity, but able to catch the race.
Yeah, some more viewers right there up in turn 4, right there across through 7. One of my favorite places of the racetrack. Good place to pass.
And if you're not careful, you'll be spectating as a driver, right?
Yeah, if you don't pay attention to what's going on here, my friend, you will be off the course and up where those fans are watching you.
8 leaders, 9 lead changes, 4 cautions, 4 cars out of the race. And Jeff Gordon, who, as Darrell Waltrip told us on the pre-race show, getting engaged prior to this race. A special engagement for him, maybe his first win of the year, just 19 laps away.
Well, it looks to me like right now he's trying to put a fitting period to that announcement, but he is really running well right now. He's starting to stretch out on not only Terry Labonte, but as well as the 20 car of Tony Stewart.
And Tony Stewart may be having some problems running third. Let's rejoin the guys upstairs, Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
If he is, Chris, it's not apparent to the stopwatch. His lap times are mirroring Jeff Gordon's right now.
I don't
at
know.
About 80.2 seconds.
A little smoke. I see smoke, so he's got a valve train problem. Saw a couple little puffs of smoke. See, it's starting to trail smoke. Those puffs, that's a valve tagging a piston.
And we still got a long way to go around this 1.9-mile road course. 18 laps, that's a long way to go.
Yeah, she's laying down, Larry. I don't think she'll go long. When they start doing that on a track like this, it's usually terminal.
Well, 73% of you thought that Stewart's reign as road course king would end today. And thus it appears. With 18 laps to go, what are they saying in Stewart's pit, Matt?
Mike, he has swapped ignition boxes, down a cylinder. He knows he has a number of laps. He has to try to nurse this car home, but you can see the smoke is getting worse and worse on the 20 of Stewart.
If he falls from the race right now, he would finish 38th.
And with the wreck at Michigan, the wreck at Lowe's, in 2 of the last 4 races, he has finished worse than 40th. So he's going to be right back there if he falls out with those other 2 finishes.
That makes the decision, Larry, in my mind, to start that race at Dover, even though he didn't feel like it. It makes that look even better than it did at the time for that very reason. I thought, you know, he is solidly in the top 10. Why risk it? You just want to be in the top 10 when you get to Richmond on a 26 race. To starting to answer the question here, he needed those points.
Stewart came in here 6th in the Nextel Cup standings with a pretty decent margin. Certainly enough to keep him in the top 10 leaving here.
You could hear him when he came by our low shot right there. She doesn't sound too good.
Brian Newman 3rd, Greg Biffle 4th, Kurt Busch 5th, and now Boris Said moves into 6th with an easy pass of Stewart.
But did you see, Tony? He didn't cut Boris any slack. That is so reminiscent of Earnhardt. It didn't matter what Earnhardt's car was doing or where he was. If he had a little something on his mind, he kind of let you know he hadn't forgotten about him.
And he had a very good memory.
He did.
Meanwhile, Terry Labonte keeps soldiering on, and this last lap, Dick, his lap was faster than that of Jeff Gordon's.
Yeah, and he also heard Felipe Lopez's crew chief in his ear telling him to take it easy on the fuel. The computer here in Labonte's pit shows that he will run out of gas going down the last hill of the last lap and have to coast to the checkered flag. That's how close they're calling it.
I'm sorry, but I'm old school when it comes to fuel mileage. That computer does not know how much he's on and off the gas, where he's shifting. There's a lot of things that computer does not know.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of things that the computer doesn't know and the crew doesn't know. Only that driver knows. And Terry Labonte is a crafty old dude. And I'm telling you right now, he can milk that thing. Running out, coming down that hill is not going to do you any good, though, because you can't make it back.
Another thing that computer doesn't know is uphill from downhill. And if you run out going uphill, you're not only run out, you're out.
That'd be an uphill climb, wouldn't it?
It would be a bad day.
Nobody knows.
Yellow's out for something. I don't know what. Yellow's out.
That's good, Eddie. We need that. That takes the pressure off of Terry. Terry, do everything you can do under caution to save gas. I know you've been, hopefully you've been helping.
Gives you more choices than ever.
I tell you what, for somebody saving gas, you ran the last 3 laps quicker than Gordon. So you keep saving gas that way, we're going to be all right, bud. You guys are walking away from 3rd on. So just keep thinking gas, man. Keep thinking gas. This caution is going to help a lot.
That 24 is in the conserving mode also.
Get brave, shut it off going down the hill if that helps you out.
You are watching the Dodge Save Mart 350.
Some of the other things we've seen today. Oh, interesting. I think it's subliminal.
Now there's Boris Said Jr., who has the curly blonde locks and a hairstyle much like his dad's.
And probably pretty proud of Dad right now. Yep. Dad's sitting up in 6th place. Now, let's give you the scenario here. I think this caution for Terry Labonte in the 96 car, going to be close on fuel, is good news because you can save a little fuel on the caution. For Terry Labonte, this caution is bad news. It puts a bunch of hungry wolves on his rear bumper.
No, but you know what? He was running pretty good lap times right there before that caution came out. He had picked it up a tad. See what he had to say.
A lot of discussions on pit road.
That's good, Eddie. We need that. That takes the pressure off of Terry. Terry, do everything you can do under caution to save gas. I know you've been, hopefully you've been helping us out here.
Pit road is open. No takers among the leaders.
Oh, no. Not with 14 laps to go. Not here.
Steve?
And Doug Richard just told Greg Biffle in that 16 car, we should be okay on gas, but save everything you can while you can, and that adding to what Larry Mack said about saving a little bit of fuel under this caution period.
And I tell you, the other thing is we made note on the last long run that we had, the 24 car got a little worse toward the end of that run.
Yeah, he was pretty good for a half a run, but that last half, he wasn't so hot. I think Terry Labonte might be able to pass him.
My kids, Scott is 7, Katie's almost 6, and they are big fans of Scott Pruitt. There's Scott in the Coors Light car. He and his wife, Judy, are noted authors of children's books. They have 3 now, the first of which is 12 Little Race Cars, followed by 12 more little race cars. And the new one is called Rookie Racer. Rick Morgan did all the illustrations for the 3 Pruitt books, and they're great fun for kids. Adults will like them too. Lots of pictures.
Very nice.
"13 laps to go." There's Pruitt, who's in 22nd place. One of 32 cars on the lead lap. 5 caution flags today.
Considering he's been in about everything that I can remember, he was in that first wreck. He was spun out about 3 times, and to be sitting there in 22nd place, not too bad a job for Scott.
Jeff Gordon's led twice. He's the leader right now. Point leader Jimmy Johnson had a big spin at turn 4, but continued. And I don't believe we've noted Dave Blaney out of the race. He'd been running at the conclusion of 33 Nextel Cup races. He's not officially retired, but that car's up on jack stands being worked on in the garage.
That could be a stretch. The other car that this caution may help, still a long way to go. Tony Stewart in that 20 car. This is a couple of 3 less laps to put on that engine at high RPM.
Yeah, but it's getting, you can see back there the smoke trailing out of it, and it's getting worse. And that valve has dropped down there and tagged the piston. It's just a matter of time till she self-destructs.
You saw Dale Earnhardt go past the pace truck. He is the free pass car on this caution. NASCAR's first road race was in 1954 at Linden, New Jersey. Al Keller was the winner. The field of 43 cars included 1 Morgan, 1 Porsche, 1 Austin Healey, 4 MGs, and 13 Jaguars. And Keller's Jaguar, owned by noted New York band leader Paul Whiteman, a good friend of Big Bill France, was the car that went to victory lane. It is the only time a foreign manufactured vehicle has won what is now a race in the Nextel Cup Series. That was the first NASCAR road race. Today is the 100th.
That would be a pretty nice honor to say I won the 100th road race in NASCAR.
Sure would. Now we listened in on Jeff Gordon and team.
Our tires are just not, we're just not very good when the tires get hot. Right here, going to cool them off for you, buddy. You're going to have about a 10-lap sprint to the finish. That's where you've been the best all day, those short runs, man. You're doing a great, great job with it.
I kind of believe that Jeff Gordon has his hands full, not only with Terry Labonte, but he got a wonderful start right there. They've got a big jump on Terry. But Ryan Newman's right there, and Greg Biffle. I mean, Jeff's car's not that good right now. The question is, can they get up there and get after him?
And Tony Stewart's car would not accelerate, lost a lot of spots on that restart.
Yeah, Smoke's car is just about ready to give up the ghost.
He's now being passed for 14th.
See, Terry Labonte ran some of his fastest laps just before that caution came out. Once you turn him loose, if he thinks he's got enough fuel to make it to the end, I think Jeff's got his hands full.
Passing zone, Jeff Burton to turn 7 underneath Jimmy Johnson.
Tough place right there. You got to give the guy room.
Got enough room.
Yeah, this is that part of the race we talked about at the top of the show. I'm not sure we have near enough cameras to cover all the action because it will be all over this racetrack.
Picking up speed down through the S's.
Listen, we got cameras in the sky. We got cameras on the ground.
We got Chip Cam, RoboCam, DLP Cam, you name it. And Skymaster Cam. Big brake lock up on Kurt Busch coming into turn 11 and down to 35 miles an hour.
Seen that a lot today on that car. It keeps locking up that left front.
They were 3 wide mid-pack into that corner. And somebody pays the price.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Scott Pruitt again in the 40 car.
Poor Scott.
He's going to be dizzy.
He was in the middle of,
Clear, you're clear all the way around.
of 3 cars abreast going into that corner.
Yeah, getting a little busy right here. Looks like Harvick got into the back of him. Good thing it's a slow corner, because there was a lot of oncoming traffic.
There, outside and inside. Clear outside.
And at turn 2 moments ago.
Uh-oh.
Second time today for Bobby Labonte. This time he's into it with Jeremy Mayfield.
There's some of that synchronized spinning we always see here.
Out. Caution is out.
Yep. Oh, by the way, that was Eddie DeHaan, Bobby Labonte's spotter.
Caution is out again, and again, I think that's good news for Jeff Gordon. Cool his tires down. Good news for this group right here. Felipe Lopez, Terry Labonte can conserve a little more fuel here with going to be 10 laps to go.
Scott Riggs, who is driving with bandaged feet because of a Sea-Doo incident. He was trying to unload his Sea-Doo in an oyster bed, cut up his feet, but he's out there running, and he gets the free pass.
I'm Dale.
Debris in 1, Terry. Zones in 2. Look for it. Little room. Don't run over this.
Terry, I know you got a lot more experience running these things than I do. You can tell me to shut up any time, but keep saving gas. Keep thinking about that gas.
They'll probably take at least 2 laps here, please.
Under our 6th caution, 10 laps to go in Northern California. Jeff Gordon, although king of the road, he's won more road courses than any other driver in the history of this sport, looking for his first win this year. Tony Stewart led for a lap earlier in the day. Here you see him working his way up, pushing anybody out of the way who was in his way. We'll document his problems in a moment. Points leader coming in. Jimmy Johnson, a nice save, spinning all the way around. Was running 7th at the time, fell to 14th, back up near the top 10. And Jeff Gordon, who first led 21 laps total in the race, the lowest he's been is 12th, retook the lead with 22 laps to go, has that lead as we have under caution just 9 laps to go. And Jeff Hammond, the problems for Tony Stewart continuing as he is falling further and further back. What went wrong with his car?
Well, Darrell talked about it early on, that more than likely he tagged a piston and messed up either a valve or busted the piston. This right here, folks, is what a piston looks like. Here's the cylinder head. It goes up and they come very close together when everything is right. More than likely he's over-revved it just a little bit. They've made contact, and when that contact is made, usually you'll either bend or break the valve itself, or you can also crack the top of this piston. And right now with the smoke that's coming out of this car, and Darrell keeps talking about it, these cautions seem like they're helping him out. There's the car smoking. That shows that there's oil getting into the cylinder head and making it smoke. Hopefully he'll be able to make it to the end, but he definitely is going to be down on cylinders, and he's probably going to have a hard time hanging on that 17th position.
Yeah, that's where he is, 17th, two-time NASCAR champ. Jeff Gordon, a four-time champion, trying to hang on and win this race. Mike?
Stewart's problem has been the restarts. He's been able to go pretty well once the car gets up to speed, but he lost, what, 6 spots on that last restart?
Yeah, well, because of the engine situation, you can't rev it up. You can't wind it up through the gears, so that's really hurting him on the restart.
Jeff Gordon trying to win it going away on tires that aren't sticking quite as well as he'd like at this stage of the race. And Terry Labonte trying to hold on to second or maybe win this on fuel mileage. We listened in.
Terry, I know you got a lot more experience running these things than I do. You can tell me to shut up any time, but keep saving gas. Keep thinking about that gas.
That's a typical Terry Labonte response. Just hits the button.
Click.
Click.
Message delivered.
You know, his nickname has always been the Iceman. And he's a cool customer. Been around a long time.
And just to update everyone on Terry Labonte, the reason we are following this so closely is he was last on pit road at a caution at lap 60. That means he's trying to go 50 laps, Dick Bergman. Maybe these cautions will allow that to happen.
Yeah, and we have just seen some incredible stuff in the last couple of weeks of NASCAR, and should Terry Labonte win today, it indeed would be another one of those incredible finishes. His last top 5, August 2003, Darlington, was a win. Who knows? He could repeat that performance again today.
And you just saw right there where Jeff Gordon lunged over there behind the pace car. Terry Labonte didn't lunge. He's just coasting along right now, not using any fuel.
And that can hurt you, really. I mean, he needs to be able to clean the tires up. But in order to do that, you got to rev the engine up. So got to watch him on this restart here. He's got some guys behind him that are pretty good, too.
And behind us, big night tonight on Fox in prime time, beginning with Malcolm in the middle. And a special presentation of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's coming up tonight on Fox. But first, it'll be 8 laps to go on this restart with Jeff Gordon leading Labonte. 2 Chevys ahead of Ryan Newman's Dodge, Greg Biffle's Ford, pole sitter Kurt Busch in a Dodge, and road course ace Boris Said in 6th.
Terry Labonte today exemplifies to me what being a former champion and experience will do for you in some situations.
Jeff Gordon scoots away on this restart.
I don't think there's any question that these caution laps are helping Jeff Gordon. His tires don't seem to work that well once they get a little heat in them, and riding around cooling them off has got to be a good thing for him.
Terry Labonte gave Gordon a lot of lead on that restart, and now Labonte's got to deal with Ryan Newman.
But again, I think Terry's short shifted. I just don't think he can be aggressive on that restart. He's got to get that thing into top gear, keep the RPM down, don't burn so much fuel.
He's racing the elements as much as he's racing the competitors.
I know you got to look behind you and say, here's a bunch of guys behind me and I got to get going, but you got to think about getting to the end first.
34 cars on the lead lap.
And look, Mike, I mean, Terry's car is good. Next to Jeff Gordon right now, Terry Labonte's got the second best car.
You know a guy that this race looked bleak for quite a ways ago, when he had a problem with the right rear tire? Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, he was actually a lap down. Now he is trying to get back to the top 15. Right now he's in the 17th position. But he has fairly fresh tires versus these guys.
I tell you another guy that I can't believe he's where he is that 5 car. He's in 7th place. Remember, he tried to knock the fence down here early on in the race, and they have fought and scratched, and he's back in the top 10.
Kyle Busch.
Maybe he's finally beaten all those curbs into submission. There he goes, curb climbing again.
I thought that car would have been damaged so badly it wouldn't drive good enough for him to run as good as he is. But right now, he's knocking on the door, trying to get around his teammate there. And if you could, we can listen to the engine and these guys that have plenty of fuel make it to the end. If you could hear Terry Labonte's engine, I guarantee it's not singing the same song. Hear those quick shifts? Now listen how quick he'll get high. high gear right there, and just now listen, nice and smooth. Whoa, he got a little loose right there.
But what he's doing and the cautions that we've had here over the last few laps, that could be the difference in making it and not making it.
Just got to sit there and keep focused. You don't want to get carried away here and start racing somebody and run yourself out of fuel. You got to try to maintain where you are, but don't let those guys behind you make you do something that you don't want to do.
6 laps to go. Forrest said in 9th place now. Our leading road course ace gets the Ford bold move of the race for all that fancy footwork. And a big pile up here. Joe Nemechek involved again. Dale Jarrett, J.J. Yaley, Reed Sorensen, and Bobby Labonte were back under caution.
It's inevitable. This always happens with about 10 laps to go. Felipe Lopez breathing again.
Felipe, light one up, buddy. You all right? This is just working beautifully for these guys. I mean, think about it. All they need is a few cautions. They can make it to the end.
It's going to take several cautions to clean this mess up.
What happened?
Top of the hill here, it just seems like it inevitably on these restarts. Dale Jr. gets in the back of J.J. Yaley. Kyle Petty just rams into the back of Joe Nemechek.
And they just start stacking in after that.
Remember too, Darrell, you're that the elevation change there. You're coming out of that corner, and look at Kyle. You're kind of blind coming up over that hill to what might be in front of you right there.
Okay, come on. Watch out 01. There you go. Clear.
As simple as it seems, why didn't he stop or why did he do this? It just happens all too quickly up there to make all those things happen.
Steve Letarte, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, Felipe Lopez, Terry Labonte's crew chief.
Bobby Labonte's okay. I believe Dale Jarrett's already out. We saw the window net down earlier. Kyle Petty drove away. There's Bobby. Tough day for the Pettys with both cars involved. Reed Sorensen.
A lot of damage to that 41 car.
By the way, that nice custom chopper that Sunoco had built for the Pettys in Victory Junction Gang Camp, you can go to victoryjunction.org and enter that sweepstakes to win it. Beautiful bike. J.J. Yaley, tough day.
Had a good night last night up in Milwaukee. Finished 3rd in the Busch Series race.
$500 shopping spree at Save-Mart supermarkets, $500 from Lowe's, $500 from Big Time.
Breathing. Oh, Philippe's breathing a little easier right now. That obviously, they've even stopped the race. You'll burn no fuel like this.
But you're not burning any laps either.
No.
That's okay.
But maybe it'll make some fuel while it's sitting here.
Now our counter says 6, and that is technically correct, but when they cross the line in about 50 feet, it'll be 5 laps to go.
Now we're sitting here with Terry Labonte in the 96 car. Terry Labonte has not had a top 5 finish in almost 3 years since he won at Darlington back in August of '03. Now he did have a top 10 finish last year at Richmond, but almost 3 years since this man, 2-time Nextel Cup champion, has finished in the top 5.
And there is a perfect example, Larry, of pit strategy on a road course and how you can find yourself at the head of the field at the end of the day if you play your cards right.
You don't think I lost all this hair by just it falling out for no reason, do you?
I tell you, those 2 hairs, you need to get that one back where it belongs.
I'll just leave this one where it's
Leave
at.
that one there, yeah.
Where are we running right now? Now we're 26th, but I actually think we're 25th. I think we're with 01 still out there somewhere, or behind you, one of the two. Actually, 24th, the 18's gone too.
It's going to be a few minutes, buddy. They got fluid everywhere up here.
Collins, I got a mess up here. I think that's going to be a little while.
10-4.
I'll bring you some water, Scotty.
I'm good. They just gave us some, thanks.
Well, boys, about all we can do now is salvage what we can salvage after getting hit as many times as we have.
Just nowhere to go, gets in the back of the 41 car, and he looks up, and there's the 18 car of J.J. Yaley.
From Kyle Petty's on board.
Kyle gets a little bit of damage, but he's able to squeeze through without any other problems.
We're inside of 10 laps to go, so no free pass for David Gilliland, who would be the eligible driver.
Jeff Burton in the 31 car sitting in the 7th position. David Gilliland right now 2 laps down. Winner from the Busch race at Kentucky last week.
Let's get out of the race leader's pit. Here's Steve Burns.
Mike, with Steve Letarte. Now, Steve, you've got one of the best, if not the best, road racers in NASCAR history in that 24 car. Is he good enough to hold out for the first win of 2006?
Oh, I know he's good enough for sure. I hope the car is good enough, the fuel size is good enough. There's no doubt in the driver. He's definitely the best on the road courses. I think he's the best everywhere, and hopefully this win right here, if we can bring it home, would be good for us and just get us in the right direction for the rest of the season.
Steve, any concern about gas?
Oh, there's a concern about gas for anybody in the field. Anybody who said there isn't lying. I think we're fine to 110, but I definitely don't want to see a green-white checker. I don't think anybody does. We all work our strategy to 110, but it is what it is from here.
All right, good luck. Let's go to Dick.
Are the chances that you can make it without running out of gas?
These cautions have really went in our favor, so it's getting a lot better. We were a half a lap short. We knew that. We told Terry to save all the gas he could, but now with all these cautions, we're going to be close. It just depends on, what he had to do out there chasing Gordon.
How nervous are you?
Real nervous, because I knew what we did was going to put us in a position to get a top 10, but then as it all got stretched out, just fell in second there, and then he started gaining on Gordon. So it's like, I just hope we got the fuel to let Terry do what he needs to do.
How's this for drama, Mike Troy?
Thanks, Dick. Terry Labonte trying to hang on and perhaps challenge Jeff Gordon for the win. His car owners, Troy Aikman, Roger Staubach, here with their wives. First time the families have been to a Nextel Cup race since they took over ownership of that team.
I really believe he could challenge Jeff Gordon if he knew he wouldn't run out of fuel, but he's sitting there, he's kind of between a rock and a hard place. If he tries to challenge, he runs out. If he kind of hangs in there and holds on to second, maybe he can make it.
Only in Sonoma. Track officials have just gone up and down the line of drivers distributing bottled water.
It's a little hot out there. I'm sure it's a very welcome bottle of water.
Nice touch.
They'll be handing out Grey Poupon next.
Racing is different here. Yes, it is. And the take on racing from some of the celebrities who attend the event is different as well. Take a look at what happened at the Grand Marshal's dinner Friday evening.
With the NASCAR, all you got to do is go. Go. And how do you know you're going the right way? Pretty soon, you end up where you was. And they're cheering for you, and you're right where you was. It's great.
But this race is different because you go fast, you turn left, and then you turn right. So it's like the thinking man's NASCAR race. So it's
Don Novello is Father Guido Sarducci and Grand Marshal Cheech Marin.
That's pretty good. Never thought about it that way.
They had a lot of fun. Steve Page puts on a great dinner. Tommy Smothers was there. John Lasseter from Pixar, both past grandest marshals of this race, and had a great time. Another way that this is different is the road races at Infineon and Watkins Glen, New York, 1,400 right turns, and in an Nextel Cup season, Darrell, only 42,500 left turns. Makes this very different.
And the most amazing thing about this place is we first started coming out here in 1989. This is the 18th race here. And I mean, there is nothing that looks the same. I mean, when you came here in 1989, there was hardly no stands. When we even came here in 2001, our press box was a construction trailer over in the S's, and look what we've got now.
I'm going to see if I can get a hold of the old Iceman. Let me see if I can call him up on his radio.
He might talk to you.
Hey, Terry Labonte, this is DW up in the Fox Sports booth. How you doing, buddy?
He's very relaxed.
Relaxing.
Let me. Terry Labonte, DW, you got a copy?
No, we'll check back in a bit.
One more time. Terry Labonte, got a copy. He's running under an assumed name, I think.
Or an assumed frequency.
Assumed number, I should say. There's his wife, Kim. Kim, if you hear me, wave your hand. She doesn't hear me either.
And you know, we talked about this being the 100th road course race in NASCAR. Terry Labonte has started 56 of those 100 road course races with 2 wins at Riverside, California.
A lot of different ways to have fun at the races here in the hills of Sonoma. Tonight on Fox, the funniest night on TV kicks off with Malcolm in the Middle, followed by King of the Hill, The Simpsons, a full hour of Family Guy, and a special presentation of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it all starts at 7, 6 Central, right here on Fox.
A slip sliding away there.
Watching and waiting. Bobby Labonte's Cheerios Chex 43. Back to the garage. Told you to talk to Richard Petty, who made that number 43 famous, and talked to him this morning. He's a little overwhelmed about all the attention he's getting for his role as the king in the movie Cars, and but the grandkids really wanted to go see the movie to see Grandma, to see Linda Petty's role as a station wagon.
Yeah, it was symbolic of the station wagon they drove to the races back in the 70s. Took all the kids to the track and picnic lunched out of the back of the car while Dad went out and raced a little bit. It was fun to be a part of that whole thing. I tell you, I enjoyed the heck out of it. Darrell Cartrip was he was a character.
John Lasseter said at the dinner the other night in introducing Cheech Marin, he said he always came to the races here at Sears Point. He lives near here at what's now Infineon Raceway. He didn't know NASCAR raced on ovals, so he had to go back east and meet up with Humpy Wheeler and the folks down at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Nice
and
hat.
Find out what it's all about. But it's pretty cool. Chris?
Mike, guys, with Jeff Hammond here in the Hollywood Hotel. The car's parked behind his second red flag of the day. We had one earlier, actually the first lap, when things got a little crazy. But let's talk. We talked about the 4 road specialists in this race. There were 5 rookies, and here you have 2 guys, Jeff Gordon, hoping to win, and of course Terry Labonte at age 49, a 2-time former NASCAR champ, as we await this out with some 6 laps to go.
Well, what you're looking at right now is 2 guys who used to be teammates when Terry Labonte drove for Hendrick Motorsports. He's got a lot of experience on the the road course. He's won road course races before. So, you know, I think it's a very unique opportunity here for Terry. If they've got enough fuel, he should be able to maybe go up there and put some pressure on Jeff Gordon, and I know that's exactly what Jeff doesn't want.
We have Jeff Gordon, who won here back in 2004, and if I recall, that was an extremely hot day. Jeff led some 92 of the 110 laps in that race, one of his 8 road course wins in his career.
And they've refired the cars and they've gone back under a yellow condition here, so we're much longer. We're going to find out who is the king of the road for sure, Chris.
You like Jeff Gordon's chances to hang on with what you've been seeing? Of course, these last few cautions and then this red flag certainly have had to help Jeff ease some of the pressure from Labonte.
Well, letting his tires cool off is a big help for them. It seemed like his car is fast on cool tires, but the key thing is when they refired these cars, the 96 car, he waited to the very last minute to watch Jeff Gordon pull away and that pace car to roll off before he refired the 96 to try to save fuel one more time.
And Labonte, a single car owner, last time a single car team or single car won a race, a Cup race 2003. Of course, the power of Hendrick behind Jeff Gordon. And we're getting ready to get things going here. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Other thing you got to be concerned about with the car stopped here, heat under the hood. You're low on fuel. It sometimes can create a lot of heat under the hood, and you can get a vapor lock condition, and that could really hurt Terry on this restart. It actually tries to boil the fluid in the carburetor and in the fuel line and all, and sometimes that can be a problem.
We talked about bold movers. There's Boris said he is the best of our road runners, our road course specialists. So we'll make our fourth bold move of the race. Professor Said's fancy footwork. Stab at the gas. Shift without the clutch. Hard on the brake. And getting the most out of it. That's our fourth bold move of the race. 5 laps to go. And still equipment on the racetrack. A little bit of cleanup there, so the lights are still on the safety car. We'll see if they go out up in the vicinity of turn 7.
We're being told by race control, bad news for Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. Remember his up and down day with having the right rear tire problem, went a lap down, made the lap back up, made his way to 16th. We're being told now that he is being black flagged, and I think you can see why. The hood pins are out, so he's going to have to come to pit road here, and we still have 34 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, when he ran, looks like he ran burned to the back of somebody. When he did it, flattened the hood out, and the pins came out.
This is not the crash that put us under the red flag.
Looks a lot like it.
Looks like a collection of my son's little Hot Wheels cars.
Looks a lot like Christmas, too.
Look at it. This fella's got them all. Wonder if he'll have them all in the right positions when the race ends.
See how that hood is flattened out? When he flattened it out, it took the tension off the hood pins and let them pop out. These cars, the nose on these cars is so low. And when you run underneath somebody, you just flatten your hood out.
Highest running Ford in the race is Greg Biffle behind 2 Chevys and a Dodge. Steve?
And Mike, it was interesting listening to Greg Biffle during that red flag. He told crew chief Doug Richard, I think I can get up there and wrestle with that 24 car. But on the other hand, they got talking back and forth. In the last 7 races, Greg Biffle has gone from 23rd up to 10th in points. Greg Biffle said, you know, if I do that, I run the risk of crashing. And Doug Richards said, you're exactly right. You're going to have to play this one safe. So it'll be interesting to see if Biffle, in fact, mounts a charge or takes that top 5 finish home.
Well, it's a numbers game, Steve. He's 10th in the Nextel Cup points. He needs to leave here 10th and not give anything up. If he can gain, fine, but you can't give away.
Pretty sure if you'd have taken a poll of all those guys sitting there when the race was stopped, end it now.
I'll take what I've got.
I'll take what I got.
Exactly. Tell you another guy that probably take what he's got right now, Carl Edwards in that 99 car. Pretty clean day, sitting there in the 6th position. Remember, he's one of those guys trying to get to the top 10. Came in here 13th in points, just 85 points out of 10th.
31 cars on the lead lap.
tell you another guy that is going to leave here in pretty good shape. Didn't look like it at a little while ago, but Denny Hamlin back in 13th place. He's hanging on to the top 10, and that's not going to hurt him too much.
Yeah, had a flat tire earlier.
Has a flat nose now.
He got all kind of problems.
That was the name of that dog, Flat Nose. The whole pre-race at Darlington used to be
Flat Nose,
the tree climbing dog.
Yeah.
Wow, we've come a long way, folks.
There's the battle right there, and I don't think it's going to come down to the final race of this first 26 at Richmond. I think it's going to come down to the last lap of race number 26 at Richmond.
6 through 10 in the Nextel Cup standings right there. Denny Hamlin 10th, 501 points out. Jimmy Johnson the leader over Matt Kenseth, and they'll leave here going to Daytona just that way. This is the 7th race at Infineon where Jeff Gordon has led the most laps, and it's the 3rd time this year he has led the most laps, but he has not won since Martinsville last October.
Well, I think we knew that here and next week at Daytona he had to make statements. If he's going to be in the top 10.
Like practice, just 3 smooth laps, all gonna need. You're better than all of them. Hit your marks and take what it'll give you, man.
There you go. That's what I like to hear.
Now, if we're going to get the green with 3 to go, here's one thing that none of these guys want to see, and you heard Steve Letarte talk about it. If we get one more caution, we're going to go into overtime, and trust me, no one wants to see that because we know everyone is fairly close on fuel.
Well, we got tight turns, a slick track, and some pretty beat-up race cars here. Anything's liable to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Gordon and Labonte in Chevys, Ryan Newman's Dodge, Greg Biffle's Ford, pulse hitter Kurt Busch in a Dodge, Carl Edwards 7th, Jeff Burton, Elliott Sadler, Boris Said, and point leader Jimmy Johnson 10th. 31 cars on the lead lap. Here we go for 3 laps to settle it all.
Saw Terry Labonte lagging back just a little bit. Jeff Gordon's going to bring him down pretty slow in his 24 car.
Terry Labonte is holding his breath. He's pushing down on that gas pedal ever so slightly.
And Felipe Lopez, his crew chief, is holding his breath.
Yeah, Felipe's down there smoking about like Tony Stewart's car right now.
Chain smoking.
You see, is Terry slowing down, or is it just getting a run on him?
And Darrell, I think we're going to see that a lot in these last 2.5 laps because of what you talked about. He's short shifting. He's getting the high gear as quick as he can, or the 3rd gear as quick as he can.
And that must really be frustrating Ryan Newman right behind him.
Well, but what it does when you short shift is it'll give you a little shock there because you're using the torque of the engine, not the RPM. Coming downhill here, Terry can just kind of coast through here, keep it in high gear. It's going to be under a lot of pressure right here, getting down in the corner. Matter of fact,
here comes Newman.
Newman's going to go on the outside of Terry here,
and that's going to be hard to do. You just can't get the bite off that corner.
He can hold him off to get right here to the kink. Woo.
Clear.
2 to go.
2 to go, 4 miles.
You got to admit one thing. Now, Larry, remember not too long ago we were talking about how slow that 96 car was? He was a second slower than all these guys he's racing with. And look at him now.
He's holding his own.
He is under fire.
Casey Kane has pitted, may have had a flat tire. A lap and a half to go.
And I love what Newman's doing. Newman is respecting Terry Labonte. He's not forcing himself up underneath of him, taking a chance on spinning him out. He's really showing him a lot of respect.
But Ryan Newman does not need a problem here either. He's another one of those cars that he would love to have a 3rd place finish here because he keeps inching toward the top 10 in points.
Now he's 17th right now. Newman is in the Nextel Cup standings. Jeff Burton has climbed to 7th place, looking all over Carl Edwards for 6th.
This could be a challenge right here for Terry because we saw the 12 get a run on the outside. Here comes the 12 again on the outside, and gosh, I think he's going to drive right by him.
And Busch on the inside. Inside of Biffle.
Not a whole lot Terry can do right there.
No, he just got to give it up. White flag this time. We know we will not go into overtime because we're on our last lap.
And Biffle is up to 4th.
Boy, Terry's got to hang on, because if he ever opens the door, there's a chain of them behind him.
There is a whole pack of them.
And they're all looking all over him.
Tony Stewart still on the lead lap. He's faded to 29th. Jeff Gordon makes it look so easy.
Smooth, baby. The smooth operator.
All he's got to do is just hit his mark for about another half a lap.
Turn 7, final time.
The battle's back there from 3rd to about 8th or 9th. That's where it's going to get exciting.
Got Newman got around Terry.
You just wonder, Greg Biffle saw where Terry Labonte was pretty weak getting down into turn 11. He saw it with Ryan Newman, but Terry actually stretches it out just a little bit down through the S's.
I think Terry could really stretch it out if he just knew he had enough fuel, but right now he's just trying to get back around here, make turn 11, and he's going to come home with a pretty good finish here. Scott
Pruitt in the tires on the back part of the course, and Newman dropped to the inside to protect the inside of 11 against Kurt Busch. 9th road course win, extending the all-time record for Jeff Gordon and the DuPont Chevrolet. It is the 5th win here for car owner Rick Hendrick.
King of the road right there, boys. Nice job, Philippe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fine 3rd place finish for Hall of Fame racing and Terry Labonte.
And nice job, Terry Labonte, but still Philippe willing to roll the dice and
50 laps on fuel.
And go for that pit strategy. That was pretty cool.
Tony Raines, a regular driver up there with Philippe.
He'll be back in the car next week at Daytona.
And Ryan Newman said he had a good car and was looking forward to this race. He'll enjoy a 2nd place finish. Pruitt got out of the tire barrier and came around to complete the final lap in 30th place.
And Jeff Gordon, who fell out of the top 10 in points after Michigan, he's going to catapult back up into them. He's going to be 8th in points leaving here.
It's Denny Hamlin who will fall out of the top 10 to 11. So, yeah, a nice engagement present for Jeff Gordon today.
I got to believe he'll be a pretty happy young man today. She's a happy young lady. There's his future wife. I'm sure she's feeling a lot of relief because Jeff hadn't won this year and he needed to badly, so that's great.
Darrell, I go back to Michigan. We talked about it all week last week. Yeah, they maybe didn't get the finish they were looking for there, but they had a good solid run to lead them into 2 places that we knew he's going to be good. That's here and next week under the lights at Daytona.
Jeff Gordon scores his 74th career Nextel Cup victory, 7th on the all-time list. There he is with Tony Stewart, and we'll talk to him in Victory Lane next.
Yep, you still on here? Good job, buddy. You drove your butt off. Great job, Scott, all you guys.
NASCAR in-car, exclusively on digital cable.
New salads never seen before. Chopped, tossed, and julienne. Well, apple, walnut, chicken, wow! It's Tuscan shrimp for me.
Chevy congratulates Jeff Gordon and the 24 Chevrolet. Another great Team Chevy victory. This is your Chevy winning moments.
The best road racer I've ever seen. Man, you are good. Guys, the pit crew, you guys deserve this. You've been better than NASCAR all year long. You guys deserve it. Jeff, fantastic job.
25 of the last 34 NASCAR manufacturers championships And counting Chevy an American Revolution. Time now for the Nextel from Sprint post-race show as we welcome you back to Sonoma at Infineon Raceway, where Jeff Gordon held off Ryan Newman, Terry Labonte, Greg Biffle, and Kurt Busch to pull into victory lane for the first time this year, and Dick Berggren is down there.
And I'll tell you what, there's been a whole line of people here to say congratulations. Philippe, open up that sweater. Look at this. 22 years ago, crew chief Philippe Lopez bought this t-shirt. It's a Terry Labonte t-shirt from when he first started. How did you save that much fuel?
Well, I don't know. We got pretty good gas mileage, but the car was a little bit too loose to really get after it pretty hard. So I was having to really ease into the throttle coming off the corners, and evidently it was getting good to gas mileage, so I just kept doing that. And Philippe told me to try to save gas, and so I didn't really change anything because I figured if I tried to save in gas, I'd just mess it up. So I just kept doing what I've been doing all day.
Experience matters. Congratulations. A terrific run for Terry Labonte.
Terrific for Jeff Gordon as well. Nearly 100,000 fans seeing Jeff Gordon pull into victory lane, and let's go down there.
1 year ago, he had transmission issues, missing his chance for a 5th Infineon victory, but today, the road course king was back on top. Jeff Gordon and the 24 team, like they have so many times in the past, dominant here at Infineon. Welcome back home. A big hug by owner Rick Hendrick. So what do those two cautions and the red flag mean for you getting this team back to victory lane?
Man, I didn't know if we were ever going to win another one of these races. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. What an amazing moment this is. Very special weekend for me and this race team to get back to victory lane, for DuPont, for Pepsi, GMAC, Nicorette, the folks at GP and Sparkle Paper Towels. Who am I missing? But it's just been an amazing...
What about for you and this team?
Well, it's been an amazing ride, and I knew that this team was something special. We just haven't had a chance to really show it, and they gave me such an awesome race car this weekend that I had to get them this win, because if we didn't win with this car, we can't ever win, and what a great day, just kept working on. We weren't the best all day, but got that track position. It was great. It was awesome.
Number 9 on the road courses, but big picture-wise, he jumps back up to 8th, unofficially in the standings. Steve.
Thanks, Matt. With Ryan Newman, best finish of 2006, best finish here in Sonoma. How important was this day for you, Ryan?
A big points day for us in the Alto Dodge, no doubt. A good run. Congratulations to Jeff. We had just a plain, smooth race, great pit stops, great strategy. Happy to get a good top 5 for everybody at Penske Racing.
All right, great job. Thanks for your patience. We go back upstairs. Mike Joy, he's headed to the care center. He's got some bad cramps.
Well, he sure had a great race, Steve. Jeff Gordon, masterful display. His chief rival for the title, defending champ Tony Stewart, 28th with engine trouble and just 76 points out of 11. This is my son Scott's tie, so it's a little short, but I love it. But, I mean, what a day for Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, I think on a road course, it's easy to predict who will win. What is unpredictable is everything else, because we saw things all over the board today. I mean, look at Terry Labonte. He finishes 3rd. Guys had trouble, come back and get great finishes. So that's what I love about road racing. You never know what the outcome is going to be.
And what I love about road racing, Jeff Hammond and I talked about it at the top of the day, is strategy. I love strategy. Look at Philippe Lopez, Terry Labonte. They finished 3rd. And I'm going to give a nod to Tommy Baldwin. Didn't have that good of a race car with Elliott Sadler. He did it on a 3-stop race and ended up in the top 10, finishing 8th. Strategy, strategy.
You mentioned Elliott Sadler. Congratulations to the Baldwins, parents this weekend.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the Nextel Cup standings. Jimmy Johnson leaves here 101 up on Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, and Greg Biffle anchor the top 10 as we get ready to head for Daytona.
Tony Stewart is slipping back in the clutches of those guys that are fighting to be in the top 10.
Uh-oh. Chris?
Denny Hamlin, you see guys falling out of the top 10. The rookie trying to compete for the chase. Jeff, we're 10 races away from the chase for the championship. What did you see today in this road course, I guess in the last few weeks, as we get ready for Daytona, that'll help narrow down the field?
Well, I think right now one thing is that Jeff Gordon really wants to be in this chase for the championship. He didn't like sitting out last year, so you got to believe right now today was a good step in the right direction.
And what should we expect as we go to Daytona?
Oh, the unexpected. Whenever you go into a place like that, under the lights, restrictor plate racing, you never know what's going to happen or who it's going to happen to. But I'm looking to see whether or not Jimmy Johnson can make it 2 for 2 at Daytona, or if his teammate can make it 2 in a row.
That'll be Saturday night on Fox from Daytona. Coming up next here on Fox, King of the Hill, The Simpsons, Family Guy, a full hour, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Jeff Gordon, 34 years old, 4-time NASCAR champion. Grew up, actually born about 25 miles from Sonoma, his 9th road course victory to lead all time, and engaged recently this weekend. So happy Ingrid Van de Bosch, his wife-to-be, a nice engagement present for Jeff Gordon pulling into victory lane. Promotional consideration provided by these fine folks, and we appreciate them helping us out. And as we go to Daytona and restrictor plate racing next weekend, look for your drafting partner. Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer. Remember that line from The Godfather. See who you can rely on as guys fight to be in that top 10 as they get ready for the chase for the championship. For our entire production team, Jeff Hammond, I'm Chris Myers from the Hollywood Hotel. We'll see you next Saturday night, NASCAR on Fox. Jeff Gordon, your winner here in Sonoma.